epicenter of the HBCU football world this last day of October. 70,000 fans have come to Legion Field for the battle between Alabama A&M and Alabama State. The fans have marched, the fans have been fed. Now it's time for some football. The SWAC is back on ESPNU. Next. Officials estimate that over 100,000 fans have converged on the city of Birmingham for the annual clash between Alabama State and Alabama A&M, known as the Magic City Classic. Hi everyone, I'm Dwayne Ballin. Welcome to legendary Legion Field. This is one of the most intense rivalries in all of college football. Alabama A&M and Alabama State, they share the same state, but very little else in the way of pleasantries on this Saturday. This is such a big telecast that I'm joined by not one, but two broadcast partners, Eddie Robinson Jr. and Jay Walker. Let's start it off and check in with Eddie.
Thanks, Dwayne. I'm here at ground level at the Magic City Classic where all the fun happens at the tailgate. And although Alabama State enters into this game 1-5 today, these Hornets fans like nothing more than to beat up on the Bulldogs. And they're promising me that you'll hear a lot of this chant today, Jay.
All right, Eddie, I'll give you credit. The Hornets are here to put the sting to the Bulldogs in Birmingham, but the Bulldogs aren't going to go out without a fight. Ulysses Banks is their star running back. He can simply get it done. 7 touchdowns on the year. If the Bulldogs are going to have a chance to bite the Hornets today, look for Ulysses Banks to try and get in the end zone at least twice, preferably 3 times for Coach Jones and the Bulldogs. But we know this game is all about the atmosphere, and the Bulldogs have plenty of bite here in Birmingham. They've got a 12th man that's going to will this team to victory. You talk about Bulldog spirit, they definitely have it here in Birmingham. All right, Eddie, you heard about the Bulldog side. Dwayne, back to you.
Thank you, Jay. Coming up next, the 67th annual Magic City Classic.
Running back on the field, I'm looking for daylight, and they like what I do, cause I do what I do, like I'm doing it for TV. You need me, like the apple that the doctor prescribed. Transform like more than meets the eye. Mr. Go Ill, player of the year. Head on collision, make a player disappear. And when it's game time, I hold no fear.
So I asked my visit GoArmy.com.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by Citi. Whatever your story is, your Citi card can help you write it, because Citi never sleeps. We are just about set for the renewal of old acquaintances, Alabama State and Alabama A&M. Eddie Robertson Jr. is standing by with Alabama State coach Reggie Barlow. Eddie?
Coach Barlow, you're starting Anthony Spade. He gets his first start. What do you think about that move? Will it help you today?
Oh, yeah, I think it should. You know, Anthony Space is a good quarterback. You know, he's coming back home. He's a Birmingham kid, his first start, so he's excited. We're looking forward to him going out having a big game.
So even though he's a transfer from UAB, he knows about this Magic City Classic because he's a local kid.
Oh, yeah, he grew up on this. He's been to these games. He had an uncle that played ball at Bama State, so he knows all about the Magic City Classic and what it means to both universities.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck today.
Thank you, Eddie. Well, Jay Walker, this is going to be a very interesting game.
It is, and they're starting off with a little bit of controversy. They're making the decision to bring in a quarterback, starting his first collegiate start down for this school, for Alabama State, in this environment. You're talking about a huge environment. Pressure cooker, pressure, pressure, pressure.
Look at the skyline of the Magic City Classic. In the backdrop, Legion Field has seen some of the greatest college football games of all time here in Alabama. We'll talk about that throughout the balance of the telecast.
It's historic. It's definitely historic. And talk about some of those places. For me, it's so unfortunate that they no longer have the Alabama-Auburn game here year in, year out. But they're not missing a beat with the Magic City Classic. You're talking about 70,000 people in the stadium and another 35,000 outside tailgate.
Reggie Barlow's Alabama State Hornets come in 1-2 in the SWAC, 1-5 overall. Last week took a pretty hard fall against Grambling. He's in his second year. 6-11 overall at his alma mater. And he is the Hornets' all-time leading receiver. He's trying to get things going in Montgomery.
Good guy.
A lot of people think he's the man, too.
Oh, man, quality human being. When you talk to Coach Barlow, it's all about character and quality. He has the NFL experience, but more importantly, he's a molder of young men.
Anthony Jones will match wits against him across the way. Jones, in his 7th year, he's done the job at Alabama A&M, 52-26. Graduate of Wichita State, 1983. And he is 70-39 overall. Last week, his team beat Alcorn State. The Bulldogs come in 2-1 in the SWAC, a tie for first place in the Eastern, and 3-5 overall. Arizona State, excuse me. Alabama State will receive. I knew when I saw that ASU, it might throw me. And Alabama A&M will kick it off. Back to receive the kick for Alabama State. Keon Humphreys, number 1. Joel Raggins, number 27. And kicking off for Alabama A&M is Jeremy Lycia. We are underway. The Magic City Classic in Birmingham. It's Humphreys. Out over the 30-yard line, stopped by Chris Fosh. So now we will see the young man you just alluded to, Anthony Spate, who's a transfer from Alabama Birmingham, arrived last spring. This is his first start. Last week he played, threw a touchdown pass in that loss to Grambling. He's replacing Reed Herkenbach, who was benched simply because there wasn't enough production going on for this unit.
And to put this in perspective, he's starting against his rival. I mean, these two programs hate each other. So you're talking about pressure right away, and you got a great platform to perform on.
So it's 1st and 10 from the 31. Hornets open it up on the ground, and a first down pickup. That's Ramad Traylor, pickup of 13. Tackled by Alfred Williams. Look at the men up front for Alabama State. Nathan McCall, number 70, the senior, anchors that offensive line. The backs, you just saw Traylor reel off a 13-yard run. He's a team's leading rusher. They need a big game out of him. And keep your eye on number 7, Darius Mathis, when Spate goes through the air. Traylor trying to make way around the right side, didn't get too much. Defensively for Alabama A&M, defensive line is led by Jeremy Maddox, number 54, who is a terror from the edge. Linebackers, Quentin Holmes is a leading tackler for this Bulldog defensive unit. And Marcus Thomas, number 16, keep your eye on him. He will be very active throughout this game. So it's 2nd and 10 from the 43 for Alabama A&M for Alabama State. We keep it on the ground. Joel Raggins, stopped by Marcus Thomas.
Yeah, good job here. What do you want to do? Get a running game to help out an inexperienced quarterback, and you see Clark hit the hole here, low balance to the ground, getting positive yards. That's what you need to do. Coming right to your living room, you see the big tackle there making the pull, and as Clark accelerates through the hole, positive yardage. You need a good running game if you've got a quarterback that hasn't been tested yet. And it looks like we're finally seeing Spate in his first obvious passing situation.
3rd and 4 from the 49. Throws it behind his receiver. He was looking for Ramad Traylor coming out of the backfield. Miscommunications, opening series jitters.
Yeah, I would say that's it. I mean, he just missed that pass. And as a quarterback, you've got to be able to complete the 5-yard out route. Wide receiver was wide open. Traylor out of the backfield, one-on-one against a linebacker. Hit him in stride, deliver the ball, keep the chains going. What he's going to have to learn in this game is you've got to pick up first downs to keep the chains moving along.
Roberto Jones comes on the punt. Frank Moore and Thomas Harris are back to receive the punt. And it was Harris, stopped by Justin Wright. Eddie Robinson Jr. also, as we mentioned, there are 3 of us here. Eddie, what are you seeing on the field, especially in that first series defensively that Alabama A&M did?
Well, I think A&M, they want to put pressure on Alabama State if they get them in those obvious passing situations. The big thing there is Alabama State has come out running the football, something that Coach Barlow talked about last night in the conference call.
think that's what you've got to do, too. When you've got a quarterback experience, you want to run the ball as much as you can. And very similar for Alabama A&M. We saw Kevin Atkins. You saw a statistic. A&M wants to establish control of the line of scrimmage as well, so look for them to come out and try and establish the running game.
A&M clad in maroon and white begins at the 18, and they do it on the ground early as Ulysses Banks reels off a 13-yard pickup. The men up front for Alabama A&M, Xavier Manuel, number 68, is an all-conference lineman. He anchors their line. Backs and receivers, Thomas Harris, number 81, who just returned the punt. Keep your eye on him. And Banks, of course, who just ran the ball, had an outstanding performance in this game last year. That pickup of 13 sets up 1st and 10 at the 31 for the A&M Bulldogs. Opening moments of the Magic City Classic. Man in motion is Rashad Johnson. That would have been 6 points if they could have connected. Thomas Harris and Kevin Atkins weren't quite on the same page. Atkins led him a little too much. Defensive line for Alabama State. The man to keep your eye on is Clyde Holloway. That's number 92. He has 21 tackles. Linebackers are led by Rashard Johnson. 41 tackles, 3.5 sacks for him. The secondary, Brandon Everett, number 25. 14 tackles, preseason SWAC performer. 13-yard pickup. We were talking about miscommunication opening. Jay, playing in a game like this, you know, there are a lot of opening round jitters. I want you and Eddie both to get in here, but opening jitters in a game like this is a big deal.
And normally the team that can calm their nerves the soonest is normally the team that ends up being victorious. So both teams coming out here a little bit too anxious. We see an offsides penalty by Alabama A&M, so they've got to get it going and settle down.
Completion to Nate Baxter, tackled by Preston Hale. Pickup of 9. Eddie, defensively, playing in a game like this, is it easier for the defense because you're doing more reacting?
Well, yeah, you definitely have to read and react, but you have to also recognize what's going on. But defensively, you just have to relax. You can't get too keyed up and try to make a big hit. You have to play assignment football first.
2nd and 6 from the 35 for Alabama A&M. Kevin Atkins, a quarterback, a sophomore from Durham, North Carolina, Southern High School.
You know, one of the things you see that they're still trying to control the line of scrimmage now. I've always wanted to know, you know, Eddie, I went to Howard. Howard's a homecoming school. Eddie went to Alabama State. Talk about the magnitude and what are the feelings leading into the Magic City Classic if you're an Alabama State Hornet football player, Eddie?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the fans. The fan support and the wanting to win this game is just so big. You feel the pressure every day.
Pressure every day. See, I know for homecoming at Howard, which is huge, 100,000 people come on campus. Our coach used to always tell us, hey, the party don't start until we win.
Well, we got about 100,000 people in the general area of Birmingham for this one. This is the first 3rd down of the game. Atkins rolling to his right. What a great adjustment and catch by Thomas Harris. Excellent work on a 37-yard pickup. Travis Rayford was there to tackle him, but not after a big 1st down pickup.
You talk about a great adjustment. Look at Atkins get outside the pocket. I like the blocking. He sets up, rolling to his right. He's left-handed, still gets it there. And look at Thomas Harris go up and catch the football at its highest point. Very difficult throw for a quarterback to make when you have to throw against your body. But when you get up and get that completion, it was worth the hit when you get a big completion downfield.
Junior from Alexander City, Alabama. He needed 52 yards coming into this game to reach 2,000 for his career. He's well on the way. 1st and 10 from the 26 for Alabama A&M within striking distance. Opening quarter, Magic City Classic. Ball overthrown by Kevin Atkins, looking in the direction again of Thomas Harris, who clearly is his favorite receiver.
Yeah, in that case there, he made up his mind where he was going with the football. Instead of taking what the coverage was giving him, he knew he was going right back to Thomas Harris. Harris was double covered. He threw the ball deep, and he had somebody open underneath, and that's why the touchdown interception ratio is not where you would like a quarterback to be. You wonder, in today's college football game, how do you end up completing just 52% of your passes with the spread offense? It's when you have poor decision-making from your pre-snap read.
Atkins, 2 for 3, 45 yards in the air so far. Out of the backfield, Banks does a great job reaching up and grabbing the pass. It's almost like he was getting a high chopper at 3rd base.
That was a fantastic job there. And we talk about the accuracy. When you have this pass here, this is just basically an extended handoff. And look at the inaccuracy of the throw. That could have been a lateral had Banks not been able to come down and get it. But Banks is showing you why he's a special talent. Made that one-handed catch look easy, like he had a glove on. He was playing baseball, not football, Dwayne.
Eddie, from what you see right now, how difficult are the adjustments for Alabama State's defensive unit?
Well, Alabama State traditionally like to put pressure on the quarterback. And in this situation, I would expect them to try to bring some heat.
Okay, Coach Robinson's calling for a blitz. 3rd and 7.
Safety's creeping up to the line of scrimmage. Here comes the pressure on the outside. Didn't get there.
Atkins finds his man, Harris. Good enough for the first down. He is bulldogged out of bounds by Justin Wright.
One thing as a quarterback that you start to realize what you love is when they're bringing a blitz and you're protected, that's a great opportunity to hit a big play, because you know you've got one-on-one coverage. So all you have to do is get rid of the football, don't get hit, and allow your athletes to make plays. And look at Tommy Harris. He knows he's just got one guy to get by. On his way to the end zone, had there not been a second defender there, that would have been a touchdown. So good quarterbacks start to anticipate the blitz and really want to get blitz so you can get one-on-one matchups with your wide receivers downfield.
Harris came in 705 yards, 3 touchdowns on the year. Banks has room. 6 points. Bulldogs strike first. 10-yard run for Ulysses Banks.
Great job by Ulysses Banks of setting up his lead blocker. But I'm going to tell you who I'm really impressed with. Number 13. Take a look at the fullback, Gerald Stocksdale, coming in, looking for somebody to hit, gets that block right there just to nudge him and seal the corner so Banks can get into the end zone for his 8th touchdown on the season.
Banks had 1 touchdown last year and 132 yards in their victory in this game last year, 13-9. So he's matched his touchdown total already. Jeremy Lycia makes it a 7-0 lead for Alabama A&M. So the early magic goes to the Bulldogs here in Birmingham. 7-0. Alabama A&M cooking up a 7-0 lead early on here at Legion Field. Boy, that looks good. College football on ESPNU continues Sunday afternoon as the Wittenberg Tigers take on Carnegie Mellon's Tartans. College football on ESPNU Sunday at 2 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com.
Quickly, Dwayne, where's Carnegie Mellon?
Pennsylvania.
What city?
Pittsburgh.
I can't fool you. I can't fool you. Wow. I just
Who
knew
was
I had
Andrew
you.
Carnegie? Opening drive for a touchdown. Ulysses Banks, 8 plays, 82 yards. He had a 10-yard run, but it was interesting for Alabama A&M, 2-2 on 3rd down plays, a total of 49 yards. Now, Eddie Robinson Jr., defensively, what's being said on the sideline right now, because they're reeling after that drive and they don't want to get 2 down in this game?
Well, Alabama State, their players are basically saying they didn't do anything we didn't expect. We just need to tackle. They had a big 3rd down stop when they sent the blitz, but the cornerback couldn't make the play.
Well, I'd argue on that one there. It looks like they've got a headache in the form of Tommy Harris. He got by this defender twice. They just missed him one time. What do you think? They didn't talk about maybe doubling up on Tommy Harris, the wide receiver.
Well, Tommy Harris is a guy that's been big all year for Alabama A&M, and I think that's the guy you have to realize you must stop him if you want to beat the Bulldogs today.
Eddie, is it possible that running Banks, and we knew that they wanted to do this a little more in this game, threw Alabama State off on that drive?
Well, yeah, that last play, I mean, Banks is the key figure. He's always had a very big Magic City Classic, so you have to stop him. Local kid from high school. Let's
see if Alabama State can answer those 7 points. Traylor trips up, falls. Frank Curse was there defensively, but it was mostly Traylor's offensive line that put him on the ground.
And you see Traylor, that's one of the things he's doing is realize that's my fault. And one thing you've got to be able to do as a running back, you got to make the first guy miss. And when you come to the hole dragging your feet, as opposed to lifting up your feet, getting knee lift, you shouldn't get tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
Actually a loss of 1 on that play, so it's 2nd and 11 from the 33. Eddie Robinson Jr., Jay Walker, our entire ESPNU crew. I'm Dwayne Ballin. It's the Magic City Classic from Birmingham, Alabama. 67th version of this wonderful spectacle. Alabama A&M leading 7-0, 8:23 remaining in the first quarter. Can Alabama State answer?
Look out.
Interception. Darian Payne comes up with the mistake from Anthony Spate.
They brought pressure. You knew the blitz was coming, one-on-one coverage, and you could tell Payne was anticipating the quick throw. He doesn't go anywhere. You see Spate wants to get rid of the ball in a hurry. Just a poorly thrown ball. Inside, he got to throw that ball on the right shoulder compared to the left shoulder. The blitz is coming, but you've got to be accurate. See, good quarterbacks stand there and bring on the pressure. We saw it earlier. Blitz, you got one-on-one coverage. If he gets that ball off on an accurate throw, then your wide receiver has an opportunity to make a big play. But that was just a poorly thrown ball. And early on, looks like the hometown kid from Birmingham is having game time jitters.
So Alabama A&M takes the ball right back. Atkins rolling left. Nearly had 6 more. Looking at Thomas Harris, but Alabama State did bring pressure. Eddie, that's one thing that they clearly wanted to correct from the last drive.
Yeah, you have to bring the pressure, but you also have to cover because Harris still had a chance to catch that ball. Now, Alabama State comes into this game with 1 interception, and talking to the defensive coordinator, he said, we've had our opportunities to get this. We're just not catching the football.
And that Tommy Harris problem is not going away. We saw it in the first drive. I don't know if they've got a defensive back that they feel comfortable that can guard Thomas Harris. And what happens then, you can't play man-to-man. You got to ease off on the blitzes, and you're relying on zone coverage.
You wouldn't try to find a way to put Everett, number 25, on him a little more?
I would think so, but give credit to the offensive coordinator. It's their job to find the best matchup. And they come out schematically and move the formation around and shift it to where you have an opportunity to get the one-on-one matchup that you want.
This time, Adrian Hardy leading the defensive unit for Alabama State as they did not allow Banks to get going.
And that's the defensive coordinator there, Tony Pearson. You know, I give credit. When I was in the NFL, our go-to guy for the Minnesota Vikings was Chris Carter. And you wonder, how is he always able to just catch touchdowns? Well, Brian Billick did a good job of lining up Chris Carter in the slot, moving him around, and disguising where Chris Carter was going to line up. If you know he's always going to be in the X, then you can always put a Deion Sanders or somebody there to cover him one-on-one. But if you move him around, do shifts in formation, then you get the one-on-one mismatch that you want, lining up your best wide receiver against a linebacker or a safety. And that's what you have to do. Good offensive coordinators put their players in the best position to make big plays.
You saw Tony Pierce, the defensive coordinator for Alabama State. Eddie, he was coaching when you were in Montgomery, and he has some adjustments to make because offensively, at least the early drives portend a long day for the defense.
Well, I think Alabama State, they feel comfortable with what they're doing. They just realize that their players have to make the plays. Defensively, Jay, you know this, just because you're covering the guy doesn't mean you're going to stop him. You still have to make the play once the ball is in the air.
Exactly. It's like, anybody can sit up there and draw up a play with an X and an O, but can you cover?
That's what it all comes down to. I think Alabama State, they have to keep bringing the pressure. You can't let the quarterback sit back there and bake a pizza, but they're going to have to hold up on the edges, especially against Tommy Harris.
Eddie, any indication when Anthony Spate came back to the sideline, whether or not the coaches were looking at Reed Herkenbach, the man who had been the starter?
Well, I think they're going to give Spate time to work his way through these troubles. I mean, his guy who's making his first start, you have to let him get a chance to settle down. But Reed Herkenbach, he is still an option if Spate struggles.
And that's interesting how Herkenbach got here. Both of these kids are transfers.
Right.
Neither one of these quarterbacks, Herkenbach or Spate, were quarterbacks here last year on campus for Alabama State. So they're both college transfers.
Third down, under pressure. Atkins gets it away. Release man was Gerald Stockdale.
I like him.
Tackled by Preston Hale.
Stockdale's one of those guys where he's just a football player. He's not a starter, but you'll see him all over the field. He's going to line up at quarterback. He's going to line up at fullback. He's going to line up at tight end. He's going to line up at wide receiver. He's got a good frame, 6'3", 223 pounds. So they like to move him around, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes because they do give him touches in different locations.
The senior from Talladega Central actually has already played 3 positions. He's listed number 2 on the depth chart at receiver. He's listed as a tight end. If you look at the defensive stats, he even has a few tackles.
Wow.
So we're going to see number 13 all over the field. Atkins in and out of the hands of Rashad Johnson. Alabama A&M leading at 7-0. First quarter.
It's time someone gave homeowners the tools to do more with less. It's time guaranteed low prices got even lower. At the Home Depot, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items throughout the store.
Alabama State Hornets huddling, trying to figure it out. They trail at 7-0 first quarter here in the Magic City Classic. Lace up your skates for college hockey on ESPNU Sunday as the New Hampshire Wildcats take on St. Lawrence's Saints. Hockey on ESPNU Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Jay, who do you like, the Saints or the Wildcats?
I'm cheating. I'm going to take the ranked team. Go for the ranked team, so I'm going with New Hampshire.
Alabama State takes over after Alabama A&M failed on that 4th down attempt. Raymond Traylor over the left side, tackled by Quentin Holmes.
Wow, take a look here. Look at the left tackle, big number 77, left side of your screen. You see him leave the screen, he's pulling. You're talking about moving 300-plus pounds, just looking for somebody to hit, and it was a matter of the defensive back just trying to get out of his way. You see that big 18-wheeler coming at you?
What do you do? Aaron Wheeler, 6'4", 305 pounds, a junior from Milledgeville, Georgia. Arrived at Alabama State by way of Georgia Military College. 2nd and 3rd for the Hornets, who trail at 7-0 here in the first quarter. Flag down on the play. That was Tim Clark on the carry. Alfred Williams there defensively for Alabama A&M, but we'll wait to hear from referee George McCullum.
Number 70, 10 yards from the previous play. Replay, 2nd down.
McCullum heading up a crew that includes Chad Walker, Harold Mitchell Jr., Willie McLaurin, Ron Turner, Sidney Brown, and Robert Hubble. So Alabama State has itself in a minor hole here, gentlemen, in the first quarter. 5:40 remaining. Can they get it going? Anthony Spade has been shaky at best so far in these opening moments. 0 for 2 passing is Spate with an interception.
Look, they better get that play off. They called a timeout there. Realized that the 40-second clock was almost at 0. So another thing to talk about outside of the completion percentage, which is down, you've got to have game management. So much more playing quarterback than just calling the play and throwing the ball. You know, it's taking too much time. It's all on you. As a quarterback, it's your job to get the ball snapped within that 40-second countdown. And there you see he didn't get the job done, forcing Coach Barlow to call timeout.
Eddie, it clearly looks like that Spate right now is confused.
Well, yeah, Spade, I mean, you have to realize this is his first game as a full-time starter, so it's still a work in progress. I think Alabama State just needs to settle down and stick with that running game. They're only down 7-0, and it's early in the first quarter.
Log on to your online source for all things college sports, ESPNU.com. This online service will be a gateway to all college sports content from ESPN, combining the latest news with an expanded collection of exclusive material, scores, columns, video and audio highlights, podcasts, live streaming games, and much more. Log on to ESPNU.com today. And now, ESPNU is available in high definition. To get the great action on ESPNU in high definition, contact your local cable operator or satellite provider. ESPNU HD, the big picture in college sports. We are in Birmingham, Alabama, the 67th annual Magic City Classic, along with Jay Walker, Eddie Robertson Jr., and our entire ESPNU crew. I'm Dwayne Ballin. Alabama A&M leads at 7-0 early on. Alabama State with Anthony Spate in his first start at quarterback since transferring last spring from Alabama Birmingham, trying to find his footing offensively. Defensively, Jeremy Maddox, number 54 there for Alabama A&M. The Bulldogs appear pretty sharp in the early going on both sides of the ball.
And really what they're doing is they're confusing the quarterback. And until Spate shows the ability to complete some passes, look for Alabama A&M to continue to crowd the line of scrimmage. And you're talking about a quarterback hasn't hit a pass yet. Now he's facing 3rd and +10, now 3rd and 15. Very difficult passing situation.
Well, that little shuffle pass was his first completion of the game. I guess you'll take it. It is a completion. Out of the shotgun, Spate decides he's going to try down the sideline. Has a receiver, but was he in bounds?
He helped him out. Good job.
Catch is made by Nicholas Andrews. Corey Morrison was there defensively for A&M. Pickup of 11 yards.
And look at Spade out here just buying some time, allowing the receiver to get open. And look at Andrews come back, toe the line, make the catch. And that's what you're taught. When your quarterback is scrambling, you head to the sideline, and he's scrambling too. And Ooh, he looked like he was bobbling that ball as he was going down there. He might have got away with one.
Nonetheless, the 17-yard pickup is good for a 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line of Alabama State, which has yet to get into Alabama A&M territory, as we are inside of 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Spate once again out of the shotgun. Hand off to Traylor. Finds running room over the right side. Pickup of 8.
Good job there by Traylor. One thing I like about him, he's got a low center of gravity. Take a look at the low center of gravity. He's coming here, guys got him, you try and tackle him high, whoop, lowers that shoulder, keeps the momentum going, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. That's what you want. I like running backs that have that lean. They're the ones that once they get hit, they still pick up 2 or 3 yards after the initial contact. And Ramad Traylor showing he's got that lean.
That redshirt junior, Traylor, 4 carries, 26 yards so far. Picks up the first down, moves the markers. Alfred Williams there defensively.
Hey, Jay, you notice Alabama State, they've talked a lot about this spread offense this year, but Coach Barlow said he talked to his offensive coordinator, Coach Noonan, he wanted more running plays called, and now you see they're doing a little bit of I formation, some old school knock 'em back football.
Yeah, that spread option, that spread offense, not too popular down here in the state of Alabama.
Well, you see
up the road at Auburn. Yeah, exactly. See what happened. It's kind of different. And the spread offense is not just something you can decide you want to do overnight. You have to recruit a certain caliber player, and it all starts with the quarterback.
Traylor still on his feet, battling. Darian Payne there on the stop.
And follow up that point on the spread offense. I think, we realize the importance of the quarterback, and just ask Rich Rodriguez. You can't go out there and find a bunch of Pat Whites. He goes to Michigan. He's got nobody in the middle. Michigan struggled. Auburn had their struggles because they didn't have the guy ready to run the spread. So if you're going to run the spread, it all starts with the quarterback underneath the center.
2nd and 6. Alabama State now in Alabama A&M territory. Alfred Williams, number 9, who's having a heck of a game already, the senior linebacker from Atlanta's Westlake High there defensively to lead the charge for Alabama A&M. Loss of 1.
Every year I see Alabama A&M, very small defensively. They're not big, but they've always got that one defensive stud. You talk about guys like Johnny Baldwin. You talk about Robert Mathis, who's now in the NFL wreaking havoc. And give credit to Bronski Towns, the defensive coordinator. He's been in Alabama A&M forever.
3 decades.
Yeah, that long. I took the forever off. He's just been there ever. And he's a defensive genius, and he finds a way to get the most out of his talent.
3rd down. Spate got it to his receiver. Marcus Thomas was defending, but Marcus McCall was able to haul it in, good enough for a 1st down.
How did Marcus Thomas not pick this ball off? He cuts underneath the route. He's there. He just did not go and make that interception. There's no way that ball should have been completed. Look, he's in great position. Go up with 2 hands, son, not 1 hand. Had he gone up with 2 hands, he'd have picked that ball off.
Alabama State now with its deepest penetration in the Alabama A&M territory. 1:41 remaining in the first quarter. Traylor barrels into the secondary, another 1st down, and the Bulldogs are on the march.
Give credit to the offensive line for Alabama State. They're starting to control the line of scrimmage. You'll see a body on a body. Everybody's got a body, and they're blocking 2, 3 guys in the box. Traylor's got plenty of room to run. He's 5 yards downfield before they even make contact with him. So I really think that the offensive line has decided to come to the assistance of their quarterback, and they're starting to control the line of scrimmage, which will be key for the Hornets to have success in this contest.
Traylor has 45 yards on the ground, averaging 5 yards per carry. A little better already in this game. 12-yard pickup. Ball at the 27 of Alabama A&M. Spate throwing, has a man wide open.
And he drops it.
He drops it.
And you want to know why teams only have 1 victory on the season? It's because plays like that. You've got the call that you want. They're bringing pressure, blitzing, middle of the field wide open. There's nobody in the middle of the field. Good job by your quarterback, leads the wide receiver. Wide receiver leaves his feet for no reason at all. Fred Ragsdale has to come down with that ball there. You got a quarterback that's got off to a shaky start. He's finding his rhythm.
You have to make that catch.
You've got to make that catch. That was a touchdown. You had the call that you want. They blitzed you. You picked it up. 1-on-1. Defender falls down. That should be touchdown all day long. if you're a winning team. But teams that win one football game that are losing, they don't make that play.
Spate under pressure. Ball is tipped by Jeremy Maddox, who was coming very hard and looking for his 7th sack of the season.
Good job by Jeremy Maddox. You can tell he's got good coaching. If you're a defensive end and you've got the quarterback when he releases, once that quarterback's arm goes back, leave your feet. Show me your hops. Get the tip. He single-handedly broke up that screen pass.
Third and 10. Alabama State 2 of 3 on 3rd down so far. Spate's numbers not very impressive, but on this drive he appears to have hit a stride. Ragsdale should have had a touchdown pass, or at least a big first down gain. 3 of 5 is Spate so far on this drive. Has a man. That's Darius Mathis. Quentin Holmes closed on him quickly, so they did not pick up a first down.
Wow, they set up this wide receiver screen nicely. You'll see Spate here get it to in the middle. There's room to run. You just want Mathis to become a playmaker at that point. Missed that block. He cut to the right, possibly should have kept coming all the way against the grain. You see there, Maddox thinks he's getting the sack. They set him up, and shoestring tackle prevents them from getting the first down.
38-yard field goal attempt. Jake King. And it's good. So King is now 3 for 6 of field goals on the year. That is his first from that distance. And Alabama State is on the board. Reggie Barlow. I'll take it. 7-3 in Birmingham. Thanks to the right foot of Jake King, Alabama State is now on the board with 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter here in Birmingham, Alabama. It's 7-3. Alabama A&M started off looking very good. Reggie Barlow, you see him there. His Hornets look very unsure of themselves in the opening drives of this game. He started for the first time ever in his career here. Anthony Spate, quarterback, who settled in on that last drive and appeared a little more in command.
He did, and got away with a couple things. That drive was one of those drives could have gone either way. He threw a pass that could have been picked off, but what do you do as a good offensive unit? When the defense misses their opportunity, you've got to make them pay by putting points on the board. And had Fred Ragsdale been able to stay on the feet, this game could be tied at 7-7.
Eddie, Alabama State certainly looked a lot more comfortable offensively on that last drive.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I mean, you look at Spate, he's starting to settle down a little bit, but the biggest thing is they're telling the receivers that they have to make plays. I mean, Ragsdale, that's a ball that he should have caught. I know that kid from the summer spending time at Alabama State, extremely hard worker, kid from Kansas City, and I know he'll get back out there and try to redeem himself.
He will not forget that pass. Kevin Atkins will come out with the Alabama A&M offensive unit. He is a little Jekyll Hyde so far in this game. The first drive, number 5 was 4 of 5 for 61 yards in the air, and in the second drive, he was 1 for 3, 7 yards. You see the aggregate numbers, so he has to find a happy medium.
And look, got a new quarterback in there. There goes my man, Mr.
Gerald
Football Player himself.
Number 13, who does a little bit of everything. He's played fullback, running back, and now quarterback. So to close out the quarter, he keeps it, has a first down, crosses midfield, and that's what they want out of him. Preston Hale finally caught up with him, but not before an 18-yard pickup.
I like Gerald Stockstill. That's my man. You know, he just wants to play football. And I'm going to tell you, if there's a Sandlot game going on, he's my #1 pick overall.
We are at the end of one quarter in Birmingham. Alabama A&M leading the Magic City Classic over Alabama State 7-3. Welcome back to Birmingham, Alabama, where Alabama A&M leads Alabama State 7-3 as we are set to begin the second quarter here in Birmingham. We are joined by the hardest working man in all of radio show business. Tom Joyner, the nationally known syndicated columnist, joins us for this game.
You got to say the hardest.
Yeah, did I say it wrong?
The hardest. You got to get up on it. The hardest. You know, like in church, and Jesus.
Well, tell us about an event like this. This is such a big event. And tell us why you're here and what it means to you.
Well, first of all, you got 60,000 paid here at Legion Field, another 160,000 that's not paid outside and having a good time, and you got a good football game, a halftime show that's anticipated. It don't get no better than this.
Now, Tom, I know that you're a huge fan of black college football now.
Yes.
You know, we talked in the pregame a little bit. There's no doubt who you're cheering for in this game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I have to cheer for Alabama A&M because it's just not in me to cheer for Bama State. I'm from Tuskegee. I'm from Tuskegee, and I don't care if Barack Obama was playing on the team. I can't. It's just not in me because I'm from Tuskegee. And I want to apologize for the, the butt whipping that Tuskegee put on Alabama A&M at the Circle City Classic.
Stockdale completes the pass to Thomas Harris for Alabama A&M. Now Tuskegee, your alma mater, has become
undefeated. Say it right.
Okay, they have become the juggernaut.
Yes.
In HBCU football.
Yeah. What's juggernaut mean? that means whoop behind. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then we juggernauts.
So do you think? And there's a lot of controversy out there. Do you think they're the best team in black college football?
It's Tuskegee.
You think so? Division II. And you think they're still better than all the big boys from the SWAC and the MEAC?
There are a number of schools that would argue with that.
Okay, can they argue with the numbers? I rest my case, Judge. Let's go home.
Stockdale out of the shotgun. Has a receiver open across the middle. First down pickup for Todd Lightfuss, the junior tight end from Ventura, California. Alabama A&M continues to move the ball. So now, what have you been doing all week here? It seems that people started arriving on Monday here in Birmingham.
The RVs, I understand, started getting their spaces on Wednesday. And by Thursday, they had the barbecue grills going. By Friday, the Hennessy was rolling in. And, you got black RVs, barbecue grills, and let the party begin with the hen. And here we are, Saturday, and the game is on.
We had a sky show in between there on Friday. You did your thing?
Well, I didn't do a sky show. I did my thing down the street. I gave away some gas, and we had a old school show right here with the RVs in Legion Field.
And take a look at what we've been seeing outside on the perimeter. People are having a really good time.
Man, can't you just smell that? Don't that feel? Ooh.
Just throw anything in the pot. You know, if I was a little bit smaller, they cut me up, put me on the grill.
Look at that.
Mr. Joyner, I know for you, too, another big thing is supporting all of the HBCUs. And what does seeing the attention on a game like this do for that effort?
Well, the Tom Joyner Foundation does one thing. All we do is help students stay in school at historically black colleges. That's it. That's all we do. To that effort for the last 10 years, we've contributed more than $55 million to students.
Wow. Stockdale on an option run, tracked down before he could get going for Alabama A&M.
So when you have two black colleges like Bama State and Alabama A&M, and then all of the black colleges, not only in Alabama, but all over, it's always a passion for me to be at a get-together like this. This is truly a party.
What's been the highlight for you this week?
Oh wow! from the time I landed to right now, I don't have enough time in your break here to do to do all the highlights. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of deal. You know, you have the Circle City Classic, you have the Bayou Classic, and the Classic in Florida that's coming up. But this one, if I'm not mistaken, is the oldest.
Right.
I think this one is the oldest. This one started it all.
They started playing in 1924. These two schools.
Yeah. It was so bad back then. They had bricks for balls. It was a long time ago.
I put you on the spot when we were in Florida. We saw you early on the season. You were at the X-WAC Challenge.
Right.
For me, I catch a lot of heat. I say this has been one of my favorite games to cover because at this Classic, it all starts at the stadium and works its way out.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Other Classics are kind of a little commercial. They get commercial sometimes.
Yeah. But this one, like I said, this one is the daddy of them all. I think this is the oldest. I think it's a black history fact that this Magic City Classic is the oldest one.
Would you hazard to make a prediction on the outcome of this game?
Oh, yeah, Bam.
we know who you're pulling for.
Tuskegee.
In this game.
It don't matter. We are Tuskegee. Y'all better recognize.
Now, for Tuskegee,
yes,
is Alabama State the biggest game on the schedule, the Turkey Day Classic? If you guys go 0-10 into that game, but
it doesn't matter.
Alabama State, season saved.
Season is saved. Bama State and the Turkey Classic in Montgomery, which might be the second oldest. And I've attended so many.
3rd and 7 for Alabama A&M. Kevin Atkins
what a throw.
has a receiver.
Wow.
What a throw.
Big first down pickup to Nate Baxter. And the Bulldogs once again are within striking distance for 7 more.
We talk about the quarterback position. Look how he hits him in stride. The wide receiver doesn't have to break stride. Throws the ball there, nice tight spiral. Keep running, run through the catch. That was good coverage by Preston Hale, but it was a better throw by Kevin Atkins. And unfortunately, flag on the play.
Oh, man.
So they're bringing it all back.
So what pro prospects do we have on the field here?
You've got some good ones. Well, Ulysses Banks is the go-to guy for Alabama A&M. He's one of those scat back type folks that really gets it done. Thomas Harris, the wide receiver 81, who they still can't cover. You know, he got the opening bombs there. He's got a legitimate shot. He's a young kid, just a sophomore, but you've got 2 teams that are rebuilding. So, you know, the draft prospects, these kids have to grow. They're basically freshmen and sophomores that are getting better. So ask me that question next year is what my answer is.
Okay. All right.
Alabama A&M will come on to punt. Rashawn Seiler is back to punt. Another flag on the field. So many people here teaming in and so excited about this game. Anthony Jones and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
Now, before we let Mr. Flyjock go, I need a prediction from you.
A prediction?
Who's going to win the Battle of Bands at halftime?
Oh, that's the big one.
I don't know. I wanna say Alabama A&M because I'm from Tuskegee. but that Hornets band is serious.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm pulling for you, Bulldogs, but halftime, I don't know.
Thank you for joining us, Tom Joyner.
All right, thank you
so much.
Thank you.
11:29 remaining in the first quarter. Alabama A&M leading Alabama State in the Magic City Classic, 7-3 in Birmingham.
Send in the Havoc.
Havoc is on the way.
Introducing Havoc Heli from Air.
11:29 remaining in the second quarter. Alabama A&M leading Alabama State 7-3 in the Magic City Classic. While Jay and I were up here visiting with Tom Joyner, Eddie Robinson, the other member of our crew, was down on the field watching Alabama A&M stall after getting off to a good drive.
Well, I think the biggest thing that Alabama A&M, they did come up with the backup quarterback, Gerald Stockdale. Coach, the wide receiver coach said they like when he gets into the game because he's just like a big guy that just makes plays. Between the cars and through the hedges, this guy knows how to complete big plays and do some things. But Alabama State now backed up. They have to get that running game going and get one big play in the passing game, something that they haven't had this year.
Well, there's a running game that is going. Raymond Traylor on the ground. He's stopped by Rico Porsche. Nice pickup by Traylor of 11 yards, who's 9 carries for 56 yards so far. Eddie, on that last offensive set for Alabama A&M, I noticed that Anthony Green, number 41, took a snap directly out of the backfield. So Cedric Pearl, the offensive coordinator for A&M, was throwing quite a bit at the Hornets defensive unit.
Yeah, well, A&M has always been known to have some tricky plays, especially in this Magic City Classic.
Eddie, now let's go to your defensive experience. You're an NFL linebacker. What changes do you make when you get a guy like Ragsdale coming in at the quarterback position?
Well, the first thing is it's hard to blitz a guy like that because he can always run the option and the quarterback design runs. If you blitz him and you blitz wrong, he's going to have a big play in the running game against you.
And then also when you got a guy that can throw the football as well, he's got some completion on this season as well. I've always wondered. So you're trying to tell me, Eddie, that when Jay Walker's in the game, you get the day off.
Well, Jay Walker's not going to run.
When Jay Walker's in the game, we're bringing the kitchen sink at that guy.
Because he's not going anywhere. His feet are in cement. He can throw it, but he's not going anywhere. Spate looking to throw. It is tipped and picked off.
Team defense.
Excellent team defense. Frank Kearse, number 90, came down with it, but it was tipped by Jeremy Maddox, number 54. They're all SWAC defensive end.
You think Alabama State would figure out, don't run a screen to Jeremy Maddox's sides. He's got some ups. Look at this. He gets up, gets the tip, and then you see big number 90 come there, make the catch. I'll give credit to Frank Kearse making that tackle, making the grab there. He gets it. It's a tip drill ball, and that ball was dancing a little bit, but one thing you got to look at, Jeremy Maddox, he's getting it done on that side. He's been tipping balls all day, and now the Bulldogs have great field position.
Maddox leads the team in tackles.
Coming after this play, Major.
Rashad Johnson in motion for A&M. Atkins, play action, under pressure, gets it away.
No catch.
Johnson had it for a moment. Defensively there was Anthony Burney Jr. putting pressure on the ball. And that's something that Alabama State is doing better, Eddie. They're getting pressure on Atkins. He can't just sit back there and throw at will.
Well, it's not a problem that's getting pressure with Alabama State. The biggest thing is covering those receivers. Tommy Harris and the other guys, that's the ones that you really have to worry about stopping if you're Alabama State. The pressure has been there, but they still have to do better from the defensive secondary.
You know, take a look at, you see the numbers on Kevin Atkins, 50%, but he hit him with the deep ball. And you see one thing I see Alabama State is doing, they're shading the safety over to the side of Tommy Harris. They're on the bottom of your screen, so they're getting the defensive back some help.
Atkins, quick slant. Stockdale didn't have it. Defensively there was Adrian Hardy. 3 straight drops now by receivers for A&M.
And that's something you got to help out your quarterback. And you figure a senior like Jared Stockdale, that's your go-to guy. You want to try and get him some touches. He can make some big plays here in his final Magic City Classic game in his career. But that's what happens. You know, that's why the records are what they are. You know, you got things that everybody's taking turns when they're going to make a mistake, and they're not coming together as a good cohesive unit thus far in the season.
A&M facing a 3rd down situation. Bulldogs are 3-5 on 3rd down so far. Kevin Atkins under center. Banks. Interesting call.
Interesting call. 3rd and 10. Want to run the ball, and you know, I understand all offensive coordinators say you must be able to run against a cover 2, 7 men in the box, but 3rd and 10, you're really asking a lot from your offensive line. That was one that was an interesting call right there. Very conservative play call by Coach Pearl, the offensive coordinator for Alabama A&M.
29-yard attempt by Jeremy Lycia, who is perfect, 11 of 11 on field goals this year. His longest is 43. He's almost Mr. Automatic.
Until you just jinxed him.
Make it 12 for 12. So Alabama A&M adds 3 more, courtesy the very accurate foot of Jeremy Lycia. 10-3, Bulldogs lead it. 9:18 remaining in the 2nd quarter here in Birmingham.
The Southwestern.
Alabama A&M leading at 10-3 here. 9:18 remaining in Birmingham. Alabama A&M leading at 10-3 here. 9:18 remaining in Birmingham in the Magic City Classic in the 2nd quarter. College football on ESPNU continues Sunday afternoon as the Wittenberg Tigers take on Carnegie Mellon's Tartans. College football on ESPNU Sunday at 2 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com.
Be an interesting contest. You know, I think the storyline of the 2008 college football season has been the academic institutions are now playing some good football. Northwestern's doing well.
Vanderbilt.
Duke
has won a few games.
Duke is what's going on? You don't think they're...
Howard's winning a few games.
Well,
very few.
He's trying to crack jokes up now. You got jokes, huh? You got jokes. But Howard is and always will be academic institution.
I understand that. And you point that out every time that
America's black college.
The one-loss ledger goes the wrong way.
There you go.
Lycia with that 29-yard field goal gives Alabama A&M the 10-3 lead. Humphreys fields the kickoff. Gets outside. And is tackled by Bobby McLean. Here, look at the SWAC standings. We mentioned at the top of the telecast, Alabama A&M is tied for 1st in the East, and you see the struggles of Alabama State in 4th place. But gentlemen, both of you weigh in here. The power in this conference really is in that bottom group.
Well, Grambling and Southern, the traditional superpowers, but Prairie View, the new kid on the block, they've got a key game this evening where they take on Southern University.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the West, you have 3 teams, and it's all stacked over there.
I think that more importantly, you know, as you look at that statistic or the records of these teams, don't look at the overall record. You know, don't look at that. It's all about conference play, that column to the left. So every team in the East has got a losing record, but it's all about getting to the SWAC championship game. And each one of these teams has an opportunity to represent the east side of the division in the SWAC championship. So that's why this game has added importance. Whoever loses this game, they're done. Their season's done. They won't make it back here to Birmingham in December.
Second and 10 for Alabama State, trailing 10-3. Spate throws a low ball that was just hard to gather. Quentin Holmes was there defensively. There's a flag down on the field.
As we talk about the standings and why this game is so important, let's take.
On the offense, number 68, 10 yards from the previous spot, replay, second down.
Let's take a look at those standings. I say get rid of the right column. Let's look at the left column. 2-1, 2-1. So you got Alabama A&M, one loss in the conference already. If you're Alabama State, if you lose another game, you're done. You don't think that Jackson State's going to lose another 2 games. You got the teams ahead of you. So what they've got to do is get motivated in this game, win this game, because Alabama State knows, I talked to Coach Barlow, if they win out, they're the representatives of the East for the SWAC championship.
And the next game will be against Alcorn State. That's on the road. Markers are down once again on the field. It appears as though the left side of Alabama State's offensive line moved.
Well, if you talk about this season, Jay, I mean, you're absolutely right. At Alabama State, I mean, this game can fix a...
Prior to the snap, false start, number 68, on the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Jay, you look at Alabama State, I mean, this game can fix a whole lot. I mean, the biggest thing is to win over your rival. I mean, like Tom Joyner said, the Alabama State-Tuskegee is a huge game, but then this Magic City Classic is just as big. If you can win this game, you beat your rival, and you're right back in the SWAC East race.
Reggie Barlow's offensive unit now facing 2nd and 25 from its own 19-yard line. All things considered, they're not in horrible shape, gentlemen. It's just 10-3. Spade out of the shotgun. He has to find some footing under pressure, and he's down. Jeremy Maddox, sack number 7 on the year.
They've got issues at Alabama State. You've got a guy, a left tackle, where every time you've got to throw the ball, Jeremy Maddox is beating this man off the ball. Watch him come shooting in here. Right now, the left tackle, Chris Myers, for Alabama State, he's getting a good old-fashioned butt whooping. It looks like you got a grown man going against a little boy. And Jeremy Maddox finding a way to get it done. 8 tackles for losses. Make that 9 tackles for losses with the sack.
Well, Jeremy Maddox, his guy is very special. I mean, Bronski Town said he's unstoppable. Kind of reminds you a lot of the big-time player who plays up with the Indianapolis Colts, but you're going to have to start double-teaming or chipping him at some point in this football game.
3rd and 40 for Alabama State. And they elect to keep it on the ground. Maurice Thomas, number 36, made sure that Ramad Traylor didn't make it a big pickup.
You know, Eddie alluded to that famous Alabama A&M alum who's playing for the Indianapolis Colts, Robert Mathis. Imagine this. Robert Mathis played defensive end at 225 pounds, still managed to get 20 sacks his senior season. 20. Not 5, not 10, not even 15. 20. One of the most dominating defensive players I've seen in all my years of covering black college football.
Roberto Jones back in his own end zone. 4th and 35. Maybe he can punt it for a first down. Not quite to the first down marker. It's been that kind of opening quarter and beginning of the second quarter for Alabama State so far. Well, Eddie, it appeared as though Alabama State on the, not this last drive, but the drive before the last, had figured some things out offensively.
Well, talking to the offensive coaches just now, I mean, they're telling the guys that they're going to start going on space rise of the foot. And I think what happened, the reason Maddox got that great jump coming around the corners, because the offensive tackle was waiting for the sound of the quarterback. And keep in mind, they were on the side where both of the bands are playing. And although the bands do quiet down at the snap of the ball, it's still hard for those players to hear in this stadium. And I think they're going to have to make that adjustment to start going off of the rise of the foot of Spade.
Great field position to begin the drive for Alabama A&M at the 40-yard line of Alabama State. This time, nothing doing. No pickup on the play.
And what Eddie talked about, when you talk about the rise of the foot, that means they're going with a silent snap count. So to be all visual, and you have to focus on the offensive line of when the center's going to do it, and that way it kind of balances out everything. You do that in crowds where you don't have crowd control. Only problem I've ever had as a quarterback with going with the silent snap count is the fact that then you start getting defensive linemen that can see better than the offensive tackles, and then your offensive line starts to complain about it. But the way they're playing right now, you got to try something because they're just getting manhandled on the offensive line when they try and throw the football.
Second down, Atkins. Time to throw. Looking for Harris, who makes the grab. What an effort. Defensively there was Preston Hale, but Thomas Harris on a 26-yard pickup. Excellent body control.
Wow, double move here. You're going to see Atkins come out, give you the pump, move the safety over, and then find a window in which to squeeze that ball in. Look at the body control by Tommy Harris to turn around and keep that foot inbound.
Did he have control of that ball, gentlemen?
That looked like a play to me. Hey, what did the officials say? The officials say he caught it, I say he caught it.
That's spoken like a quarterback, though. I bet the linebacker, Eddie, thinks differently.
Oh, absolutely. You got to put that big hit on him and knock it out of there.
Atkins, this time it's Banks on the ground. Breaks the first tackle, but is quickly stopped and met by Adrian Hardy. Let's look at this again. Did he have control?
I'm so pleased with how, look at the body control, turn around, get the ball. You get it there, does he have it? Pulls it into his body.
Does he have control before he gets out of bounds?
I think so. There was nothing there to say that he started moving the football. I mean, he got it, he was pulling it in, and the ball never did come loose. So I give him credit. I mean, whose side you on, the offense or the defense, Wayne? Why don't you stay down the middle? You got, I'm here offense, Eddie Roberts defense. You just be the referee.
It was a great effort by Thomas Harris. Bulldogs keep it on the ground. Adrian Hardy, who's been very active defensively, was there to stop Banks. Hardy, a junior from Selma, came into this game with 37 tackles to lead the team. Banks, a productive afternoon so far.
It's a very important play here for Alabama State. Your team is down by 7. Now you want to make sure that they don't go down by 14, which making two touchdowns means just a tie. So if they can walk away and hold Alabama A&M to just a field goal attempt, that'll be a tremendous job by the defense of making a defensive stand, helping build momentum for the second half possibly.
Third down from the 11. Marker down. I think Alabama A&M was trying to catch Alabama State sleeping. Didn't work. Illegal motion against Alabama A&M.
I'm pretty sure they're going to decline that, Coach Barlow, and you see coordinator Pierce right there behind them.
Penalty will be declined.
And normally, you want to try and push them back further to make the field goal attempt longer. But I will say this about the college game. They're wider hash marks. So the closer you get to the end zone, the angle gets harder to make. So as he comes up to make this kick, look at the angle. He's got to push that ball hard to the right there to make it, where it becomes a little bit more difficult to do. So this is not an easy field goal attempt there because they're so on the far left hash.
Jeremy Lycea from 28 yards out. As we noted, he is perfect on the year. 12 of 12, already has one this year.
See?
This game.
He didn't get the angle.
And for the first time this season, he misses.
I know a little football, though.
It's 10-3. Anthony Jones couldn't get 3 more. Alabama A&M leading Alabama State 10-3, 3:55 before the second quarter. Halftime at the Magic City Classic. Eddie Robinson Jr. means the bands.
I tell you what, we're down here at this Alabama State. Now, Jay, you know this is one of the best bands in all of the swag. And so you think the bands just show up and play at halftime, you got to get psyched. You got to get excited. You got to stretch left to right. And there they go. That marching band from Alabama State.
Why don't you get in there and mix it up a little bit? Pretty boy got the suit and tie on. Oh, okay. now, you don't think Eddie went to Alabama State. You will
I'm not going to carry this tube at halftime.
You're going to cause a riot saying Alabama State's got one of the best bands in the SWAC. They're very good. SWAC's got great bands all the way around.
What about that Howard band?
We're an academic institution.
Okay, thank you.
Academic institution is synonymous with Howard University.
Alabama State starting with the ball inside their 20. Eddie was, of course, my viewers, I'm sure they do know, he was one of the great linebackers in the history at Alabama State.
He was fortunate enough to play on an undefeated team. They went 11-0-1.
And your point is,
watch
former
it, watch
Howard
it, big
quarterback.
guy. Watch it.
I mean, there's a difference between 11-0-1 in the regular season and 11-0.
Which is what Howard did under you.
Which means nobody can say nothing to me. Eddie Robinson, by hand, you know, he can say what he wants to, but Texas Southern's like, we're just as good as you guys were.
Because that year, Texas Southern was the one time. 2nd and 3. Should be enough for the first down.
Eddie, let me ask you this now. You actually played, you know, you had a good relationship with Coach Barlow. Did you ever think that he would be a head coach and have the type of success in the coaching career that he's had?
Well, of course, I saw Barlow as a true freshman at Alabama State and also as a rookie at the Jacksonville Jaguars. We played that together also. This guy is a very organized and detailed guy and always was very professional. He's the type of player that you could say one day he can go on to be a successful coach.
Traylor with that pickup. 12 carries, has 71 yards rushing so far. Spate has a man open, has a catch. Marcus McCall, Maurice Thomas ushered him out of bounds, but not before the pickup of the first down. 15 yards on the play.
A good throw here by Spate, throwing the ball from one hash mark all the way across the field. Catchable ball hits the wide receiver in stride, allowing McCall to pick up extra yardage after the catch.
Can Alabama State punch it over and potentially tie this game by halftime?
That stop was huge.
It's still 10-3. Spate out of the shotgun.
Barlow, you talking about?
Tim Clark around the right side, but it's probably going to come back.
I think you could have thrown the flag from here on the field. Right tackle on the hold. Yeah, I mean, and that's what you risk. Anytime you want to run the ball on the perimeter, you know, official's not going to miss that one.
Oh, on the offense, number 73, 10 yards, out in the spot, replay, first down.
I mean, I don't know if this is a hold or a takedown. What do we got here? We got a wrestling match going. You take a look on your left side there as the ball gets outside. Look at him. He's got him, and you got to let go. You got to let go on that hold.
Eddie, there's a bit of stopping and starting on the part of this Alabama State offense.
Well, yeah, they're just sputtering. I think they had that big thing about should we go in the first sound or should we go in the rise of the foot, and maybe it just has his offensive line a little bit off sync. You can't think and play at the same time. You just have to react, and they're not doing that today.
Referee George McCullum making a point.
Can we get the clock reset to 2 minutes, 15 seconds? 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Frankly, Alabama A&M started off this game, appeared to be in complete control, leading 7-0, but their offense has stumbled a bit inside the red zone. Alabama State trailing 10-3 with the ball, 1st and 20 from its own 39-yard line. Tim Clark doesn't get much at all. He's stopped by Quentin Holmes.
Look at this.
1-yard gain. They have the wave going here at Legion Field, about 60,000 strong.
I mean, they've got it going on, and you know, you talk about a great festive college football environment. This is what it's all about. The fans are doing it. You've got everybody having a good time, and I don't want to be cut off short, but I'm getting ready to get into this wave. Whoa!
They love it here in Birmingham. 2nd down, Spate. Time to throw. Rolls to his left. Humphreys has it, but did he push off?
Did
he? Markers are down.
2 flags down and saw that one.
May very well be offensive interference.
Let's see if the play stands.
Did he push off? Was he held?
Holding on the defense, number 19. That penalty will be declined. First down.
So that was on Frank Moore, the senior from Gadsden, Alabama.
So So he was justified by pushing him off. He was being held. Get your hands off me.
Keon Humphreys with the big pickup. 1st and 10 at the Alabama A&M 26-yard line. Spake time to throw. Markers are down. There's an interception. Frank Moore with the pickoff. Let's see what the call is, though, on the field.
Wow. This is a tough one. They're going to call it. They had a post-dig combination. Post route going deep, underneath route coming, and they're going to call it on the guy covering the post route. And he wasn't even throwing his way. Was not even throwing to that wide receiver. And
it appears that it may very well have been Rico Porch, number 26, the offending player from Alabama A&M.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 24, 15 yards from the previous spot. 1st down.
Actually, Chris Fowles. Look at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, come on. There's nothing there. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Is there? Look. Guy was going down. They both dove for the football. Questionable call. E-Rob, your team got a little home cooking there, huh?
Yeah, big break for Alabama State. They're getting to the line quick like it's going to be a fast snap.
Alabama State's best friend on this drive has been Alabama A&M's defense. That was Nicholas Andrews taking the snap at quarterback. The receiver, Maurice Thomas, number 36 for A&M, wasn't fooled.
Eddie, let me ask you this, Eddie. Now, one thing for years, you've never been able to beat Alabama A&M at the perimeter. Why aren't they running right up the middle?
Well, you would think so. I mean, they have a big size advantage. You know, Alabama A&M, they like those fast, small guys on defense. What you have to do with a team like that, you pound them right up the gut.
Spade under pressure. Maddox was coming hard. Got it off to his receiver, but defensively, Marcus Thomas was there, and he really laid into Nicholas Andrews. Andrews still hasn't gotten up. Here comes Maddox.
See there, Spate getting outside, and at the end, that pushing. And that's one of those dangerous things. When a guy leaves his feet, you're in such a vulnerable position. You can't defend yourself. Good concentration there by Andrews, but at the end of that, it looks like that shoulder just went right into that turf.
Andrews up and moving is the freshman from Maplesville, Alabama. He had the only touchdown catch in last week's loss to Grambling.
Maplesville, Alabama. You know who's from Maplesville, Alabama? Tommy Agee. Play running back for the, and Harold Morrow, one of my old teammates with the Minnesota Vikings. We got a little football factory down there in the Ville.
3rd down, Alabama State. 30 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter here in Birmingham. Hornets in white with the ball, trailing 10-3. Magic City Classic. Spate, time to throw. Cross the middle, has a man. Touchdown, Hornets. Darius Mathis.
Wow, good job. Good recognition by the quarterback.
14-yard pickup.
As the ball was being snapped, look at number 16. He's going away from the coverage. So what do you do as a quarterback? When they roll one way, you throw against the grain back the other way. That's what you do. Number 16 is a free safety. He's supposed to be playing defense in the center of the field, but he moved with the quarterback's eyes. Great job by Thomas Spate moving the quarterback and throwing the touchdown strike.
Jake King on to tie it up. And we're deadlocked with 25 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter here in Birmingham. Darius Mathis with his 5th touchdown reception of the season. And Eddie, there's life in the Hornets.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, these guys have really woken up on this side of the ball, and right before the half, they needed that big drive. Of course, you had a couple of questionable calls in the secondary, but hey, Jay, I'm sure they'll take it.
You always do. Anytime you get points, you take them as you get them. And that was a good job, and I think Spate kind of grew up a little bit. I mean, that was very impressive. They drove the length of the field. So I think going into halftime, advantage Alabama State. I don't care what the scoreboard says. It's 10-10. Give them the example. Give them that. But you see the free safety on the replay there. Look at the pocket. Everybody's doing their job. That's team football. Hole in the defensive window. Delivered a strike there. So good job, Alabama State. That is, you well know. Think about this. The defense made a stop. So now you know A&M's got some questions offensively against this defense. And secondly, the game is tied and the offense drove down the field. So while Alabama A&M was in complete control of this contest, Now the Hornets are swarming. They've got momentum on their side.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, this football game, it seems to always go down to the quarter. These teams, no matter what the records, they play a very tough football game. So I can guarantee you the last 3 minutes of this game, it will be within a touchdown, I'm sure.
How many classics did you win, E-Rob?
I was 3-1, baby, 3-1.
Short kickoff is fielded.
See that? Now the crowd gets into it with the momentum.
Sylvester Stewart. He was nailed by Justin Wright. That's where A&M's offense will take over. Here's the series history. A&M leads the Classic itself 33-30-3, but the series between the two teams goes back to 1924.
Wow, the most impressive at the bottom there since 2002. Coach Jones has kind of owned the Hornets. 6-2 record. And you're talking about an Alabama State program that had Tavares Jackson, and people realize he lost his final Magic City Classic. So this game, throw records out the window. It's all about heart, determination, and pride.
A&M has won the last 3. On the last 2 drives, A&M has started at the 16-yard line of Alabama State and the 39-yard line and came away with field goals and a missed field goal respectively. Atkins under pressure, connects with the receiver. That's a first down to Thomas Harris. Defensively, Travis Rayford was there. 23-yard pickup. The junior from Alexander City, Alabama, is having quite a game.
And with the college football rules, they've got time to go ahead and kill the clock. No need to burn the time out there unnecessarily. So good job by Alabama A&M.
May have 2 shots at the end zone with 9 seconds remaining.
Take a look at this last completion. You see Atkins get outside the pocket, rolling to his left. Great vision, keep his head upfield. Throws a perfect pass. What a strike there to Thomas Harris. And seems like that's been the story of the first half. Thomas Harris running open in the secondary of Alabama State.
Eddie, defensively, what are you guarding against here?
The touchdown. You have to back up. Don't let him get into the end zone.
Quite
you have
simple.
to worry about. There's only 9 seconds left. You have to play prevent.
So don't let them get behind you.
I'm just going for a 10-yard pickup if I can.
Atkins under pressure, and he goes down.
That's the one thing you cannot do. Throw the ball away, do whatever you can, but you cannot get sacked and in the half with the sack.
Nicholas Grant, redshirt senior from Jacksonville, Florida, comes up with a huge sack to end the half, and we are deadlocked, 10-10. Eddie Robinson Jr., we've got a heck of a second half ahead.
Well, Coach Barlow, Anthony Spate with that big drive at the end of the game. How are you?
We are having technical difficulties. Unfortunately, we cannot hear Coach Barlow's interview with Eddie Robinson Jr., but Eddie will relate to us later what was actually said. But it's been a very interesting first half here in Birmingham, Alabama. We're tied at 10 as we get set for halftime activities and festivities in the Magic City Classic. Anthony Jones can't be too pleased as he goes to the locker room. His offense blew opportunities to put more points on the board. Alabama State coming back late. Darius Mathis with the touchdown pass from Anthony Spate. And the Hornets and Eddie Robinson Jr. are jumping for joy at the Magic City Classic. We're at halftime. We're tied 10-10 at the Magic City Classic here in Birmingham, Alabama. We're just about set for the start of the third quarter. You know there are 3 of us working the game on this one. Such a big deal. Now Eddie Robinson Jr. now joins me up in the booth. Jay Walker's down on the sidelines. We'll check in with him in a moment. But your impressions of the first half?
Well, I think it's a typical Magic City Classic. These teams know each other so well. You don't really have a lot of surprises. And this game always seems to go down to the fourth quarter, just what I expected.
Now, Jay, as we said, made his way down at halftime to the locker down on the field. And let's check in and see exactly how he did it and what he was up to.
All right, Tom, you know, it's been a great game. Yeah. They're getting so physical down there. I want to feel it. So I want to lose a tie. I'm going to lose a tie, lose a collar. I want to go down there, get some barbecue, some bands, and feel the action. You with me?
You going to suit up?
I'm going to try.
Chest bump.
Hey, let's get it done. You want to come with me? Let's go.
University President Dr. William.
All right. I got to go find me some barbecue.
Yeah.
Think we'll find some ribs down there?
Yes.
I got to get some ribs, man. Stuff smells good.
It's been 2 hours since I've had ribs.
All right, now, I got to be able to find some grub. Hey, where can I get some ribs, man? Where can I get some ribs? I need some ribs. I need some ribs. Where can I get some ribs? I need some ribs. That way, I'm going to find some ribs. I need some ribs. I got some ribs. I got some ribs. You got me covered.
Yes, baby.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, baby.
Well, Southern hospitality. You didn't think I was going to go on the field and not make a pit stop for some grub. I see you back. Man, Those ribs are good. Oh, I got to get to football. I'm sorry, I got to get to football. Coach Jones. I need Coach Jones. Hey, Coach, obviously you've got to be disappointed with the momentum your team lost at the end of the first half.
Yes, I am. I thought we played well enough to have probably at least a 2-touchdown lead, but we didn't take advantage of those opportunities. They hung around, and now we got ourselves a heck of a ball game.
Halftime adjustments.
Attitudes. That's it. Attitudes. You know, they're doing what we thought they were going to do. We got to make sure that, you know, we left some opportunities out on the field for us. And I'm sure they feel the same way because they dropped the touchdown. So, you know, we got to adjust some attitudes out here, and guys got to come out here, and when the opportunities are present, they got to make plays.
All righty, you heard Coach Jones. He seems to think that they are who they thought they would be. His team just needs to play better. Guys, back to you in the booth.
Thanks, Jay, and we'll find out what happened to those ribs before we get out of here. We're set to kick it off. Ulysses Banks and Anthony Green are back for A&M. Banks will field the kickoff from Jake King. Gets up the middle of the field, out near midfield before he is brought down. Jay, what exactly did happen to those ribs?
That's a silly question, Dwayne, but the ribs were really good. What once were ribs are now a carcass. I had some help, though. Ribs were delicious. Southern hospitality. We got it done. I'm having a great time here at the Magic City Classic.
See, that's why Jay always likes to come back to this game, because you don't get ribs like that up in Howard. You get crab cakes. You get ribs down in the South.
That 30-yard return sets up Alabama A&M to begin the third quarter. Great reaction by the defensive unit for Alabama State.
Now tell me this, Jay, when you were out there at the halftime, I know you found some ribs, but man, Dwayne up here, you know, he's a big sushi connoisseur. You see any sushi out there on the pit?
Now, where did that come from? Why did you have to bring that up? Alabama State's defensive unit, led by Leland Jones on that last play. A loss of 3 for A&M. Alabama A&M, as we just noted when Jay was talking to Coach Jones, they had it rolling in the early part of the first half. Second half, they finished with a fizzle. Alabama State with a pop. New ball game now. Out of the shotgun is Atkins. Runs into trouble, and he goes down. Sack goes to Leland Jones, that redshirt senior out of Atlanta. Loss of 5 yards.
Yeah, that Leland Jones is quite a player. And I tell you, I thought I saw someone open in the middle of the field. You can look number 81 going right across the middle of the field, but you stop looking at the receivers and you start looking at the pass rush. Then Leland Jones is able to come in there and get a big sack for Alabama State.
You know, it really is like we're starting over, because there's no sense that either team really has the momentum going beginning this half.
No, I mean, we're back to 0. This opening drive of the third quarter is huge. If Alabama A&M doesn't convert right here, it'll give Alabama State pretty good field position.
The Bulldogs in maroon and white are 3 of 7 on third down so far in the game. This is 3rd and 18. Atkins, time to throw, has a man open. That's Rashad Johnson.
Third and 18 play here. You look at Atkins eyeing down his receiver. He makes the catch, is able to make a couple people move. It seems like they're still going to be a couple yards short of the first down.
So that will bring up 4th down.
To talk about the intensity that's going on down here, Coach Jones wanted attitude from his team. Give credit to the Hornets. They've come out here with some defensive attitude as well. It's going to be a very interesting second half.
Waiting to return the punt is Nicholas Andrews. And it will go out of bounds. It takes a bounce for Alabama A&M. Lace up your skates for college hockey on ESPNU Sunday as the New Hampshire Wildcats take on St. Lawrence's Saints. Hockey on ESPNU Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Jay, in this situation now, Anthony Spate, the quarterback who's getting his first start for Alabama State, finally had some success at the end of the half. Does that make a difference as he comes out for this first series?
I think it makes all the difference. I always say the key to getting going in the second half is getting off to a good start. Great coaches make the halftime adjustment. How's he going to react? Is he going to calm down, or is he going to start the second half just as nervous as he did at the beginning of the football game? So he's got to really focus and set the tempo of leadership.
Well, they open it up on the ground. And Traylor with a big run to begin things. That's a first down. 19-yard pickup for Traylor, who had 71 yards in the first half rushing. That's a difference.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And if you want to set the tone, that's how you do it. You get into the I power formation and you just start going straight downhill with the big league block. And Traylor, this is the guy that can take over this football game. Like you said, Dwayne, already 71 yards rushing in the first half. They can get that running game going. It would take a lot of pressure off the quarterback.
He now has 90 for the game. Keep it on the ground. This time, very little doing. Alabama A&M's defensive unit was there and was ready. At the bottom of that pile defensively was Cornelius Robinson. That's the 6'2 senior from Atlanta's Booker T. Washington High.
You know, I spent some time with Coach Barlow yesterday, and he talked about getting that running game going. He was adamant about calling more runs. He felt like they didn't have enough run attempts, especially with some of the good running backs. Then I came into the stadium, I saw him on the board of trustees and said, Eddie, did you tell Reggie to call more runs? I mean, everybody on this Alabama State school and team know that they have to run the football more in order to be successful this year.
2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line. We are deadlocked at 10. Opening moments of the third quarter here in Birmingham. Spate, deep drop, attempts to run, gets beyond the original line of scrimmage, picks up a few more before he is greeted by Frank Kurse, number 90.
Hey guys, one of the things that I noticed here is I just saw Jeremy Maddox from Alabama A&M come to look for the trainer and say, hey, I need an IV, I need an IV. So a little bit of dehydration possibly taking place on his half. He's their go-to guy. He's their playmaker. If he doesn't get those fluids in his body, whoa, be very tough in the second half for the Bulldogs to match the intensity they had in the first half.
Maddox, number 54, a junior. Now, guys, I'm a little surprised to hear that dehydration. Temperature is very mild. It's cool. The sun has set over the stadium.
Yeah, but a lot of times the things that happen throughout the week, you can also have a situation where, you know, you kind of come into the game somewhat dehydrated. And by the time you play on Saturday, I mean, all of that energy and emotion in this game, the one thing about this game, you have to relax. And you see, look like we may have lost the contact right here. You can't have your starting quarterback lose his contact.
There's Maddox. Jay just referred to him needing some fluids, a bit dehydrated. He is quite active, number 54. Jay, is there any sense from you that either team has come out so far feeling as though it has an advantage?
You know what's got me about this, and Eddie, you can allude to this. The halftime adjustments, we know it's going to be simple. Alabama A&M is going to force Alabama State to throw the football. I don't know why Alabama State came out here and tried to run the football again. They should have switched it up, come out in the second half, passing the ball to loosen up the running lanes.
Reed Herkenbach now in at quarterback for Alabama State, and he's in trouble. Gets away from one defender and is knocked out of bounds by Maurice Thomas. So now was the switch made because Anthony Spate was having trouble finding his contact?
Yeah, it was definitely because of the contact lens, but we'll see. I would expect that he came to the game with a backup, and now he's looking in his helmet, and maybe he still hasn't found it. I mean, that would be a very big change in this game if he can't find his contact. I mean, this guy is the quarterback.
That brings on the punter, Roberto Jones. Back to receive the punt are Frank Moore and Thomas Harris, numbers 90, 19, and 81 respectively. Neither team able to do anything on this opening offensive drive of the second half. This is Harris. And he's put down by Lewis Wright II. 31-yard punt. Alabama A&M ball when we return to Birmingham. Magic City Classic Parade featuring local high school bands and the college bands. This is such a big event for this area. As we noted, over 100,000 people converge on Birmingham here in central Alabama to participate in this. And this, of course, is a SWAC matchup. Some news and notes. What strikes you there, Eddie?
Well, I think the biggest thing is Brian Lee. I mean, look at this guy. 407 yards and 3 touchdowns. Of course, they still lost to FAMU. And Marcus Bernard and that Jackson State defense, they're playing some extremely good defense. And Greg Dillon, this is a guy that came out of nowhere, the newcomer of the week, quarterback for Grambling State. He's really put that program back into the driver's seat of the Western Division of the conference.
Rod Broadway sure has done the job in resuscitating that program. That's what he was charged with, and he has done an outstanding job. Atkins to throw for A&M. Markers are down. And this one may be against A&M.
Holding on the offense. Number 47, 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
That's Roger Smith, sophomore fullback. But this is what happened to A&M towards the end of the first half. They started making the mental mistakes as you look at the pressure.
Yeah, the mental mistakes and also the pressure. When you start getting pressure and your quarterback getting hit like that, it makes those offensive linemen and fullbacks, they start holding and grabbing jerseys, and that's when you start making those mistakes. And you can ill afford to have those type of penalties in a big ball game like this.
And another footnote to that, you talk about quarterbacks getting hit. Anthony Spade lost his contact. Doesn't know if he lost it in his helmet or on the field. He won't play till they get the secondary set out the locker room.
Whistles, markers down. Mental miscues.
Snap. Delay a game on the offense. Number 5, 5-yard penalty.
Jay, does that do anything? You're a former quarterback. Does that do anything to the rhythm of a quarterback when you finally settle down like Spate apparently has, and then you have this interruption?
Oh, it's a huge distraction, and more importantly, you're worried about the backup getting in there and doing better than you. See, Hirschenbacher to get in there, get a little spark and get him going, and then the coach may decide to keep Spate on the bench, so you better hurry up and find those contacts.
Alabama State defensive unit looks much more aggressive right now than they did early in the game.
Well, this defensive unit, they've been good year in and year out. And you look at those guys, I mean, they know how to play some good defense, and they like to bring a lot of pressure. The problem this game has been that the defensive backs, mainly the corners, couldn't hold up in the one-on-one coverage against Tommy Harris and those guys from A&M. So if they can start covering a little better, trust me, defensive coordinator, he loves to bring pressure, Tony Pierce.
2nd and 23 for Alabama A&M. We're tied at 10, 8:41 remaining here in Birmingham. Atkins connects with a receiver. That's Johnson. Defensively, Adrian Hardy, who really has had a whale of a game, was there on the stop.
And I like that call by Alabama A&M offense because it was 2nd and over 20 yards. What do? You pick up half of it. Now you have 3rd and 11. That's a situation where you can possibly get this first down. Some teams, that 2nd and 20 situation, they try to go for it all on 2nd down, and then the 3rd down conversion is not really in reach.
They are 3 of 8 on 3rd downs in this game. The last few possessions for either team haven't been scintillating. ASU started on the 16-yard line, got a field goal. A&M on 36 got a half at the half. A&M on the 45-yard line punted. So neither offense has been lighting it up. Atkins throwing the ball away. He was under intense pressure. The Hornets have a player still down. Rashard Johnson, number 22, the linebacker, was coming fast.
Yeah, Rashard Johnson is a kid with 40 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Some very talented defenders on this Alabama State defense, and they're starting to take control of the football game.
Grounding on the quarterback. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. 4th down.
So now it's Kevin Atkins, the young sophomore from Durham, North Carolina, who has Anthony Jones scratching his head a bit. The two confer. And, Jay, there's not a whole lot you can say to your coach right there.
I mean, at this point now, I know you just got to kind of get it going. I just thought of something that was ironic. When I was in high school, I got to play in my first varsity game because the starting quarterback's chin strap broke. Went there and threw a touchdown. The rest is history.
It all worked out in the Jay Walker world. Andrews feels the punt, but very nearly tackled. "41-yard punt." So Alabama State will have it when we return.
Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
5 feet from the hole, right here.
Hey, big fella, want a cold one?
Yeah, that's it. Come on, you can do it.
Jack Link's Jerky. Feed your wild side.
We're tied 10-10 in Birmingham. Alabama State, Alabama A&M, the Magic City Classic in the third quarter. Log on to your online source for all things college sports, ESPNU.com. This online service will be a gateway to all college sports content from ESPN, combining the latest news with an expanded collection of exclusive materials, scores, columns, video and audio highlights, podcasts, live streaming games, and much more. Log on to ESPNU.com today. Alabama State with the ball. They ran it effectively. Has Ramad Traylor for most of this game. Not much there. Well, but he has been the difference for Alabama State being in this game offensively.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's really running downhill. A very good runner, has a good lean. But now that they have that running game established, we'll see at some point maybe they'll have a first down play action and try to go up top and create a big play off of that run action.
So it's 2nd and 11 for Alabama State. Anthony Spate back in at quarterback. Found his backup set of contacts. The pass play to Marcus McCall really doesn't go anywhere. Rico Porch there defensively for Alabama A&M.
Look at the pressure that Alabama A&M is starting to bring now against Alabama State. They run in a crossing route, but only for 2 yards, so a good tackle after the play. And now you're sitting with a 3rd and long situation if you're Alabama State.
Third down conversions, neither one too impressive in that situation in this game so far. Big miscue. Ball's loose on the ground. Traylor jumps on it. I don't know if Spate was even looking. The center, Nathan McCall, snapped it, and Spate did. I don't think he was focused.
Well, Dwayne, that's the same thing the offensive coordinator Noonan, they were trying to work out when I was on the sideline in the first half. They were wondering, should we go on the first down or on the raise of the quarterback's foot? And apparently, they still don't have it worked out. They've got to get that problem fixed because you cost yourself a chance to have a 3rd down conversion.
Ben Noonan, the offensive coordinator, talking to number 70, Nathan McCall, the senior center from Dothan, Alabama. So now back in his own end zone, the punt is Roberto Jones. Great coverage. Justin Wright is there. McCall, mental mistake. 5:07 remaining. We're tied at 10 in the third quarter.
They can be aviation electricians, healthcare technicians, computer technicians. But no matter which path they choose, they all start right here.
I did all my research, and I can get money for college.
If your son or daughter wants to talk about the Army, listen. You made them strong. We'll make them Army strong. To learn more about the Army's 150 different career opportunities, visit GoArmy.com.
Millions of people are making tough cleaning jobs easy. Hi, Anthony Sullivan here with great news from Sonic Scrubber, the portable, high-powered sonic cleaner that fits in the palm of your hand. Now, Sonic Scrubber's power cleaning tools can be used with brushes or new Sonic Scrubbies pads. Watch the heavy-duty Scrubbies pad cut scrubbing time in half. They do the tough scrubbing so you don't have to. And power away baked-on messes in the kitchen with ease. Discard when dirty and replace with a fresh, medium-duty Scrubbies pad to quickly clean sinks, pots and pans without elbow grease. Sonic Scrubbies do the hard work for you with an amazing 3,600 power scrubs per minute. In a recent national test,
we're tied at 10 with 5:07 remaining in the third quarter in Birmingham, Alabama, the Magic City Classic, along with Jay Walker, Eddie Robinson Jr., our entire ESPNU crew. I'm Dwayne Ballin. Alabama A&M starting at the 44-yard line on this series. Atkins, time to throw, finds a man open. That's Baxter, and he's still on his feet. Finally brought down by Leland Jones. But there's a marker on the field at the very end of the play, so we'll wait to see what happens. There's an Alabama State player hopping off of the field on the far side, and that is Jones, who just made the tackle.
On the defense, half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, automatic first down.
So a face mask, one of those raining and pouring moments for Alabama State.
Well, it's just way too much time, and he's sitting back there baking a pizza. You can only cover a guy for so long, and eventually someone does get open, and his name's Baxter, and he's just trying to make guys miss and get to the end zone. But look at Leland Jones. This guy is another player with a cramp. So you think, like you said, Dwayne, a cool day, but apparently guys are having trouble with hydration.
First and goal from the 8 for Alabama A&M. That's Anthony Green. Adrian Hardy on the tackle. You know, gentlemen, Alabama A&M's last 6 drives have started at the Alabama State 16, Alabama State 39, the A&M 36, the A&M 45, the A&M 47, and this one at the ASU 44. Why doesn't Alabama A&M have 50 points?
Well, I tell you what, Alabama State has a pretty good defense. They're not 1-5 because of the defensive performance. They just haven't been getting a whole lot of help from the offense this year.
Second and goal from the 4 for the Bulldogs in maroon. Atkins, quick strike, 6 more for the Bulldogs. Rashad Johnson.
I guess Kevin Atkins and Alabama A&M have answered your question why we don't have more points on the big slant play right here. You got to take away the inside if you're the defender. Once he puts you on the back, that's an easy throw and catch for the receiver.
Well, Donovan Maslin, number 32, who was defending, appeared to be draped over him, but
it's kind
Johnson
of
had the position.
Yeah, it's like basketball. It's just like blocking the guy out. Yeah,
right.
Once you get inside and the goal line, it's nothing you can do.
To the snap, false start on the offense, number 92, 5-yard penalty, replay, try.
There's a look at Johnson, 5'10" sophomore from Mobile's Murphy High School, who caught that touchdown pass. Atkins, 12 of 19 so far, 174 yards passing, and a touchdown pass. Jeremy Lycia on for the extra point. And Mr. Automatic makes good. Alabama A&M regains the lead, 17-10, 3:54 remaining in the third quarter here at Legion Field in Birmingham. Jay, there is a sense, at least on that drive, that A&M kind of got its act together, and that looks like Jeremy Maddox behind you. He's still dehydrated?
Yeah, that is, and he's actually getting IVs right now as we speak, and that's not a good sign. And had an opportunity to go into the defensive huddle and saw the defensive line coach, Ben Blacknall, for Alabama A&M say, hey, we got to start doing some stunts. So that's telling you right now, they don't think they can get pressure with a 4-man rush with Maddox out of the game. That means the linebackers are going to get active, and Eddie, you and I both know when you got to rely on doing stunts and blitzing, that means you got one-on-one coverage, so they are leaving themselves vulnerable to the offensive attack.
Well, and I talked with Bronski Towns, the defensive coordinator for Alabama A&M. Stunts and blitzes is what he hangs his hat on his entire career, but he hasn't been blitzing as much this year because of his secondary. You have a couple guys like Al Donaldson, who was amazing last year with 8 interceptions. He's hurt, not in the game. 6 interceptions all year by this Alabama A&M team, and for a Bronski Towns team, that's a very down year.
Jay, did you get the sense that they are somewhat surprised that Raymond Traylor has been able to run successfully, that the Alabama A&M defensive unit has been caught off guard?
So, and what they told them is they're getting sack happy. They're trying to get to the quarterback so much that they're losing their run contain. And it all starts with stuff in the run, but in front of the crowd, the atmosphere, everybody wants to get sacked, and they haven't had the ability to stop the run. So they've got to tighten up on the inside. But I think ultimately the biggest surprise has been where Alabama State has chosen their football. They anticipated runs up the middle, and Alabama State has attacked the perimeter outside the tackles.
Yeah, and I'm about to tell you what, if you're Alabama A&M, you have to come into this game sack happy, just because there hasn't been much of a running game for Alabama State all year long. But now you can see a couple plays here. That's Maddox getting the tip pass and just being disruptive, and Spate not having a chance to do a whole lot of things. Boy, A&M defense came to play.
They will miss number 54 if he has problems getting back on that field before this game is over. Spate and the offensive unit for Alabama State back on the field. Excellent defensive alertness there by Maurice Thomas, who covered quickly on that pass.
Man, I need some eligibility, fellas. I need some eligibility. They are daring. They are absolutely daring the Alabama State Hornets to throw the football. I'm sitting here on field level, and you've got the safeties lining up 9.5 yards from the line of scrimmage. I mean, Eddie, are they bringing the kitchen sink or what? I mean, just throw the ball. You got one-on-one, son.
Well, Alabama State hasn't been a big play offense. That's something Barlow talked about, taking shots deep.
Nobody in the middle field right now.
Second down. Spate looking to throw. Miscommunication. He misses Darius Mathis over the far sideline. You know, Jay, part of that might be simply that Alabama A&M recognizes that Spate still is not quite confident and sure of what he's doing and doesn't want to throw downfield.
I agree with that. And what you have to do as a quarterback, as I used to call it, you fire the first shot over the bow of the ship. You send the warning shot, and I don't care if you get incomplete pass or not. If you attack that defense deep down the middle of the field and almost connect, they're going to ease off you. But if you keep settling for throwing fade routes and out routes and get more conservative, then they're going to keep on blitzing you. And that's what they're doing.
Alabama State 3 of 8 on third down so far. Can they convert here? Spate looking long, connects with the wrong color jersey. Rico Porch with the interception. Well, Jay, he did go long. He just hit the wrong target.
They played zone coverage, and the guy was double covered, and Porch was just playing the middle of the field. You can see it here. I'm looking at the replay. He's right in the middle. He's backing up the whole time. What are you doing? He's reading the quarterback's eyes. You've got to move that guy. They got him in an obvious pass situation. They went to zone coverage, and I don't know if you get an interception any easier than this right here, Bob.
And if you look at number 7, Darius Mathis, and number 1 for Alabama State, you have 2 wide receivers in the same area, so that's a very easy interception for Rico Porch of Alabama A&M. You have to take shots deep, but you have to plan it a little better than that.
That's the third interception that Spate has thrown in this game. So Alabama A&M now takes over after the turnover, and it's on 32-yard line. Good defensive reaction by Alabama State. Milton Hall, number 71, the senior from Stone Mountain, Georgia, was there to stop Ulysses Banks, who frankly hasn't done too much in the first part of this second half.
But I'll tell you what, Coach Jones, this team, I mean, he knows how to close out a football game. If he can play with a lead, Ulysses Banks will get his chances in the third and fourth quarter to run the football downhill. And this Alabama State defense, this is pretty much their story of the season. The offense doesn't do a lot, and the defense eventually wears down.
Starting at the 32-yard line is the worst field position for Alabama A&M's offense over its last 7 drives. Atkins under pressure, gets it away. He was looking for Johnson. Johnson had not even made the turn when he threw it, and the ball was short. Clyde Holloway was applying all sorts of pressure on Atkins, number 92.
Well, I tell you what happens right here. I mean, Jay, you know, if you take a 3-step drop, you better throw the football. Kevin Atkins took a 3-step drop and then held it, and those big defensive linemen are going to get you in that situation.
Yeah, very much so. You've got to get rid of the football. The rule on that is if you don't get rid of the ball, you look for a place to get rid of the football. And he was fortunate enough to get rid of the football, but give credit. Although they were doing a 3-step drop, they didn't even get to him. So that lets you know that the offensive line for Alabama A&M, they're kind of having their way with this Hornet defensive line.
That would be Messrs. Manuel, Jackson, Meade, Jackson, and Williams doing the job up front for A&M. Atkins under pressure again, releases to Stockdale. He has plenty of real estate. Big first down, and the utility everyman does the job. Gerald Stockdale, the senior from Talladega, finally brought down by Donovan Maslin, but not before a big pickup.
It's just a great design. I mean, Stockdale actually lines up at tight end, and they just let the pass rush come up, then he hides right behind the offensive lineman. Very well designed play, and Stockdale, we all know when the ball is in his hands, he knows what to do. And actually, a hands to the face, that should have been another 15 yards tacked on to the end of that play.
Byron Powell just whacked Atkins at the end of that one.
Should have been a penalty.
25-yard gain for Alabama A&M. Bulldogs now into Alabama State territory. Ulysses Banks cuts back against the grain. Rashard Johnson, number 22 in white, was waiting for him along with his Hornets teammates. Jay, does Alabama State's defensive unit look a little tired?
I think so. You know, we talked about why it's chilly. I'm actually cold down here on the field, so they should be, you know, they should have the ability to just tough it up. But you see them there; they've all got their hands on their hips, which is the first sign of being fatigued. And they're looking around, and Alabama A&M has really come out here and established themselves in the second half on the offensive line front. I'm particularly impressed with number 66, the left guard in person. He's huge and he's mobile.
That's Russell Jackson, 6'2", 302-pound sophomore from Riverdale, Georgia. Second down. And they continue to move the chains. Another first down. Stockdale involved again. That's 2 first down plays for him in a row. Stop there was Leland Jones, but not before the chains are moved.
Yeah, just a quick slant. These are just easy throwing catches for Kevin Atkins. Little 5-yard plays, but you still move the chains, and you get a big guy like Stockdale. He's able to manipulate the linebacker and get open. That's a mismatch when you have Stockdale against the linebacker.
Atkins came into this with 1,276 yards passing this season. Banks, misdirection a bit. Stopped by Adrian Hardy, but they are moving the interior line of Alabama State, as Jay noted.
Yeah, they're starting to get movement up front, and that's pretty bad for Alabama State in this situation. You're in the red zone, you have guys fatigued and can't get to the football with that high energy that you had in the first half and the start of this third quarter.
Alabama A&M, as time winds down in the third quarter, is within striking distance to expand on its lead. We have played 3 quarters here in Birmingham. It is 17-10 Alabama in the annual Magic City Classic.
The Southwestern Athletic Conference is dedicated to offering challenging educational opportunities to talented students and future leaders from all across the world. Founded in 1920, the SWAC and its 10-member institutions of higher learning are committed to building character and champions. Whether in the classroom or on the field of play, the Southwestern Athletic Conference is focused on service, scholarship, and shaping the minds of our future leaders. The Southwestern Athletic.
Welcome back to ESPNU College Football, presented by Citi. The 67th Magic City Classic at Legion Field in Birmingham between Alabama A&M's Bulldogs and the Alabama State Hornets. We have 66,000 or so of our very close friends who are joining Eddie Robinson Jr., Jay Walker, and our entire ESPNU crew, along with me, Dwayne Ballin. It has been a very interesting game. Momentum shifts, and Alabama A&M now is knocking at the door with the 17-10 lead as we begin the fourth quarter. Number 5, Kevin Atkins, under center for the Bulldogs. As a man out in the flats, that's Baxter, but defensively there was Preston Hale. Very alert reaction at the corner.
And I tell you what, I think the Alabama State defense really got a break because we had the stoppage at the end of the third quarter. They were extremely fatigued. Maybe now they can get their second win and hopefully hold this A&M team to a field goal and not another touchdown.
Hey, guys, you know, I'm a big body English guy, you know, and the body English tells how you're feeling. Right now, Kevin Atkins has that swagger. He's the leader. He's feeling confident about himself, finding a rhythm, and he's got that groove, and he's making some good plays. So I think he's found his comfort level.
I guess only a quarterback would really see that, too, in another quarterback.
Well, you know, a quarterback, that's how they look at it. They look at the guy who passes the ball.
Movement appeared to be on the left side of the line for Alabama A&M. And that's the one thing that's really slowed the Bulldogs down in this game, because they should have more points.
Yeah, without the penalties, they would definitely have a couple more touchdowns on the board.
Practice snap. False start. Number 75 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
That's the junior tackle, Emmett Williams, 6'5", 336 pounds. That's a lot to move at the wrong time.
Wow, you saw Atkins come over there. He just called his own play. See, that means the coach has confidence in him. You saw him. He reached over to Coach Jones. I want to run this play here, so let's see if the young man knows what he's doing. Calling his own play, see if he has success with it.
And I see Gerald Stockdale's lined up at tight end. Keep an eye on him.
Banks in the backfield. And that's who he was going for, Stockdale, but defensively, Jesse Cummings was there.
Look at Kevin Atkins. I think he has another one that he wants to pull out of his bag also. But you look at a guy like Stockdale, you move him around in all types of different positions. You sneak him in the game, put him at tight end. If you match him up with a linebacker, that's a huge advantage for Alabama A&M Fortunately, State had a defensive back covering him on that play.
That's a very good point Jay made, because you can look at it. You can tell that Atkins is just much more aggressive. He turns and looks up quickly, and he wants to call the play.
Let's go.
2nd and 15 for Alabama A&M. Marker down on the field. It's caught by Stockdale, but hang on, it may mean nothing.
And they basically went back to the same thing. They lined him up at tight end, and they had him matched up against the defensive back.
And it's coming back.
That's frustrating for Kevin Atkins, because he knew that he had the matchup.
Personal foul, chop block, number 75 on the offense, 15-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
That's 2 penalties in a row against Mr. Williams, our junior from Auburn.
Yeah, big Emmett Williams. Hate to get the spotlight on you if you're the offensive lineman like that, but let's check him out. Let's see what's the call. That's a tough one. But by the rule of the law, that is, you have one guy that's low and another guy that pushes him over the top. That is a chop block. You can't have 2 players engage high and low on a defender like that.
2nd and goal from the 30-yard line. Atkins, plenty of time. Here comes pressure. He had time to throw, and boy, did Nicholas Grant, number 52, close fast. There is a marker down near the 27-yard line.
If it's intentional grounding, that may take him out of field goal range.
And Atkins is limping.
Another receiver downfield, number 75. 5-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
3 in a row on Big Emmett. Man, he can't get a break today.
Once again.
But he was trying to, that's not his fault, because he was trying to get downfield to block the protection on the screen. But look at here, this could be a big. Kevin Atkins seems to get up limping after the tackle. His ankles may have got tied up at the end of that play.
We probably will see Stockdale now going to quarterback. You see Atkins grimacing.
And look at the offensive linemen. They're downfield, but that's not their fault. But the biggest thing is that Kevin Atkins may be a little banged up, but Gerald Stockdale, I mean, this guy's been doing it all day long. I think he can get in there and still perform well for Alabama A&M.
Jay, this is one way to really disrupt rhythm. If your quarterback goes out, although Stockdale's so active, he's still not the man that's been running the offense.
Yeah, I mean, he was finding his rhythm. He was in the zone, and he was in complete control. But fortunately for A&M, they do have a capable backup, Stockdale. He's lined up at quarterback before, so they shouldn't drop off too much. But I'm just here on the sideline next to him, and you talk about being in excruciating pain. He was yelling and screaming, but the good news, he's finally able to put a little bit of pressure on it as he walks off. But I don't know about that one there. I mean, he's really grimacing. He's in a lot of pain.
So the senior, number 13 from Talladega Central High School, will be in. Atkins has had his fair hits in this game.
I'll tell you what, some of them have been kind of late. Referees are just letting these guys play, but he spent a lot of time on his back, hands to the face 2 or 3 times. Alabama State's defense is getting dirty, but I tell you what, this guy's a tough kid. I wouldn't count him out of this ball game just yet.
That's a great picture for Bulldogs fans to see him beginning to walk with more confidence and putting more pressure on that foot. 2nd and 35 for Alabama A&M. Stockdale keeps it and makes it just beyond the 30-yard line. Still tending to Atkins.
Now take a look at where we are in this football game. Alabama A&M had a 1st and goal with a 7-point lead. Had they closed out this drive and took a 14-point lead over Alabama State, I don't think State had enough offense to come back and win the football game. You had a couple penalties. Then you have Kevin Atkins, who was in the groove, get knocked out of the ball game, and now you're 3rd and long on your 29-yard line. They may not even be in field goal range depending on what happens after this play. This could be a huge possession for Alabama State.
Bulldogs are 4 for 10 on 3rd downs. This is 3rd and goal from the 29. Stockdale out of the shotgun. Going to keep it, it goes nowhere. Adrian Hardy, whose name we have called early and often, was right there to snuff it out. Jay, is there a sense that momentum once again has shifted just when we thought the Bulldogs had it?
It is so flat over here on the Alabama A&M sideline. You can just think the momentum just got popped in that balloon. And I really fear that if they miss this field goal attempt, they're going to go down even further. They're just flat. There's no momentum. You would think they're losing by 20 as opposed to being up by 7.
This is 49 yards. Jeremy Lycia's longest field goal of the year is 43. He is 2 for 2 from that 40 to 49 yard range. And they elect to pooch punt it. Not a bad decision. It is ruled.
Now the referee, they gave it to him at the 1.
The 1 yard line. So very good work.
And that's a
Jeremy
big break.
Lycia.
And I'm going to tell you what, because
if you're looking for a comeback story that's full of heart,
if you need anything like money or something like that, don't you hesitate to call me now.
You're not my father, Floyd.
She said what?
Keep looking.
Alabama A&M leading Alabama State 17-10. That 30-yard punt was good to put the ball at the 1 yard line. Alabama State picked up 2 on the ground just now, so it is 2nd and 7. Hornets in a hole. Can the Bulldogs defensive unit force something? Out of his own end zone. Gets whacked, lets it fly. And his receiver, Mathis, really turned into a defensive back to stop the interception by Maurice Thomas, and Spate is getting up slowly in the end zone. Lots of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure by this A&M Bulldog defense. You can, wow, that is what a shot that he took at the end of that game. That was Quentin Holmes. But I like the call. I mean, I like the call of taking a chance, backed up, trying to create a big play for your offense, but you got to have more pass protection if you're going to keep passing, or else Spate won't finish this football game.
And Holmes, not a big guy playing linebacker at 5'10", 199. A senior from Norcross, Georgia. 3rd and 7. This time they keep it on the ground. It's Traylor, who is very close, if not over 100 yards rushing for the game. Okasun, the linebacker, sophomore from College Park, Georgia, made the tackle.
Yeah, and they were able to get a first down on that play, and that was much needed because they would have been punting out of their own end zone. That defense, that fatigue defense, would not have had a chance to rest. Now you get a new set of downs, and if for nothing else, you get some breathing room and let your defense be able to recharge on that sideline.
Jay, if Spate survives this, this will be a turning point in his career, this game, won't it?
I think so. It shows that he's tough. He's gotten hit. He hasn't played his A game, but he still persevered and hung in there.
Nothing doing defensively for Alabama A&M. There were a lot of maroon jerseys led by Alfred Williams, number 9, the linebacker, surrounding Raymond Traylor.
This Alabama A&M defense, Bronski Towns, you know, he came into this game thinking that my secondary is a little banged up, a little inexperienced. I can't blitz as much. Now he realizes that my secondary can cover their receivers one-on-one, be it because of the talent of my team or because of their quarterback situation. But now that he knows that, he's going to call a lot of blitzes, and he has 10 or 11 men within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
It is a different Alabama A&M defense without number 54 out there, though. Spate in his own end zone, elects to run. Gets out to the 15-yard line where Julius Pruitt, the junior from Mobile, was there on the stop.
I think Spate's going to have to do more of this to be effective. When no one is open downfield, turn into a runner. Now you have yourself where you're in a 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 situation. He can't sit back there and just wait and wait and wait. He has to have that sense of timing in his head to know when the pocket is starting to collapse. And at that point, use your feet and become an athlete.
The Hornets with just 20 total offensive yards in this half, as opposed to A&M's 120. 3 of 6 on 3rd downs are the Hornets in this game. Out of the shotgun is Spate. Quick release and catch. That's a first down. Nicholas Andrews with the pickup. Frank Moore finally drags him down. I think this really could be, gentlemen, a significant drive for Arizona State for the balance of the season if the Hornets can get down and punch it into the end zone.
Oh, if you have a 99-yard drive right now, I mean, when you're down by 7 in the biggest game of your whole season, that would just be huge. But trust me, there's a lot of more green before you get to the end zone, and that Alabama A&M Bulldog defense is still biting.
Alabama State in white with the ball. Spate, time to throw. Launches it long. The closest man was Darius Matheson White, but the person that had the best shot at it might have been Frank Moore.
Once again, you got Spate making up his mind where he's going with the football. They call a double move. You'll see the replay. His mind is set. He knows where he's going with the fake. Guys covered, clearly covered, but he's not coming off the route. You have to know when to come off the route and get rid of it. The free safety's back there just waiting for you to throw. You make your wide receiver become a defensive back. That's one of those things in the maturation process that he has to have realized. You can't just throw the ball, chuck it and duck it and hope nobody picks it off. You can't do that. You got to know when to hit the check down. And we've yet to see him. Eddie, I can't recall. Has he hit a check down at all in this game?
Well, that was my next point, because number 6, Ramon Traylor, he has 26 receptions. He's the second leading receiver on this Alabama State offense. They need to get him involved more in the passing game. We saw what he can do from a running perspective, but this guy has great hands. If you get Ramon Traylor in open field, he can make big things happen for your offense.
Let me ask you this, Eddie. We know that the Hirschenbach, the quarterback for Alabama State before this game, he's like a 65, 68% passer. And you come in with another guy, and he's just not making the efficient passes.
Well, passing efficiency, what you're talking about, they were 3rd in the conference coming into this game, but you're absolutely right. Hirschenbach was a more efficient passer. They were getting first downs. I mean, Alabama State didn't have a problem moving up and down the field getting first downs, but they just couldn't get into the end zone, and they couldn't get the big plays, and that's what this offense is attempting to do, is try to make some big plays.
The man being tended to right now for Alabama A&M is number 26, Rico Port, freshman from Phoenix City, Alabama's Central High School. And he leaves the field finally underneath his own power. Took a shot to the midsection.
I tell you, he keeps playing his pressure defense. Alabama A&M has had a lot of good cornerbacks and secondary players get hurt. They can't afford to lose anymore.
Spate, time to throw. Decides to keep it. He directs traffic a bit. A lot of people think that was a late hit. A flag does fly. Antonio Barrett, number 29 for Alabama A&M, there.
How do you call that? I mean, the quarterback leaped over somebody. He was making an athletic move. You've got to hit him. How do you make that call? Oh, they're picking it up.
There is no foul. There is no foul on the play. No foul.
I think they heard you, Jay.
Yeah, that's a good no call, because when he jumped from inbounds. If you're a defensive player, you keep hitting him until you hear the whistle. He wasn't clearly in the white.
Number 54 in maroon is back on the field at left end. Jeremy Maddox, who was so disruptive while he was out there. So let's see if he makes a difference and begins to apply pressure again on 3rd and 7 for Alabama State, trailing 17-10. Spate gets it off after being nailed, and he gets it to Nicholas Andrews, but defensively, Rico Porch, who just went off the field under his own power a few moments ago, was back and playing pretty good defense on that play.
And that Bulldog defense, like I said, they're going to keep bringing pressure right up the front. And Spate, man, this kid's going to be in the ice tub for the next week. And Alabama State may go for it on 4th down. They're keeping the offense on the field, crucial part of the game, and I like the call because you're down by 7. You haven't put a lot of points on the board. You have to seize the moment if you're Alabama State.
And there have been time-consuming drives. We are inside of 8 minutes remaining in regulation. So there's no guarantee they would even get the ball back. Markers are down, bodies are flying. Someone did something wrong.
And if that's another penalty on Alabama A&M, penalties have really killed them defensively, and more importantly on the offense. They could have another 14 points on the board if not for the penalty situation.
Offsides on the defense, number 90, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Yeah, you just can't do that. I mean, you have to know the situation. That's Frank Kirk, number 90, and you have to know that it's 4th and inches. They may not even snap the ball. They may just come up and try to draw you offside. Big break for Alabama State. Let's see if they can take advantage.
Penalty numbers mounting for Alabama A&M. 11 for 84. You see on your screen. Spate. Here comes pressure. Here comes Maddox. He gets him.
Big motor. This kid has a motor, much like Robert Mathis, who we talked about earlier. He's a former Alabama A&M star who plays for the Indianapolis Colts. This guy is just like, look at him coming around the bottom. He just keeps working. He just doesn't give up on the play, and then he goes for the ankles and gets another sack. This kid is a big-time player, Jeremy Maddox.
8 sacks on the year for number 54, the junior from Grand Bay, Alabama. All SWAC performer. 2nd and 13 for Alabama State. Here comes more pressure. This time he gets it off. That's Humphreys. Doesn't make it back to the original line of scrimmage. Julius Pruitt, number 40, was there defensively.
State's trying to run those quick wide receiver screens, and those things, it always seems like there's just one more person that you have to get away from to make it into a big play. But now time is starting to be a factor. We're getting down to the 6-minute mark, and 3rd and long for Alabama State.
They are 5 of 12 on 3rd down conversions so far.
They've been 3 for 3 on this drive, so we'll see if they can go 4 for 4.
Spate out of the shotgun. Looking long, tucks it away, runs with it, breaks 1 tackle, and picks up the 1st down as he goes into the hands of Whitney Garrett.
When Anthony Spate decides to tuck and run the football, that's when he finally looks like a quarterback to me. He looks like he's comfortable doing this. Not there. I watch him become an athlete. He's got great athleticism, and the only time he's really exuded a lot of confidence to me has been when he decided to call his own number and run the football. To me, that's a sign of a guy that's not quite comfortable with the offensive playbook because he hasn't had that many reps. What do quarterbacks do? When they get confused, they take off running.
Sets up a 1st down. Ball now in Alabama A&M territory. Cornelius Robinson, the senior defensive lineman from Atlanta, Georgia, was not having anything going forward on that play.
And look at the size of Cornelius Robinson. He's one of those guys, only 6'2", 225. Not a real big guy, but you know what? Alabama A&M, they like those type of players. They don't like big defensive linemen who are 280, 300 pounds. They want guys in that 220 to 240 pounds range who can really run. And that's what you see on this Alabama A&M defense. A lot of team speed at all the positions, even the defensive linemen.
Here comes the kitchen sink, guys. Full blitz coming.
This is the first foray into A&M territory in this half for Alabama State. Here it comes, Jay. Here's Maddox. He nearly got to him, as did Marcus Poe. They were coming hard, and Spade is lucky to get up with his head still on.
And you know what they're doing? It's funny, Alabama State's playing into the hands of Alabama A&M. They're giving you an alignment saying, okay, we're going to blitz these guys. And what Alabama State is doing is saying, rather than us attack the blitz, we're going to try and protect against the blitz. And once that guy doesn't go out in the route, you're talking about running 2-man routes against guys dropping back passing. So that way you have no place to run if you're the quarterback and nobody getting open.
Yeah, you start seeing ghosts if you're the Alabama State offense because they show you the blitz and then they back off, and then that front 4 gets pressure, and there's too many people covering in the secondary. You're absolutely right.
3rd down situation. Hornets are 6 of 13. We keep reminding you because that number is going to loom large if they can't convert. Spate throws behind his receiver. He was looking for Marcus McCall. Quentin Holmes was there defensively. So the Hornets offense, along with Spate, will limp off the field after a disappointing drive. You look at those numbers. They hurried the 4 times, sacked twice. It's been quite a day for this young man in his debut as a starter for Alabama State. Roberto Jones on to kick away to Thomas Harris. Harris calls for a fair catch, downs it at the 5-yard line, and that's where Alabama will take over after the 37-yard punt. 4:37 remaining here in Birmingham. Shaking and rolling at the Magic City Classic.
Quarterbacks, baby, quarterbacks.
Hey, quarterbacks can't get but 2 chin-ups. I'm going to show you how linebackers do it.
Don't bend your leg.
Oh, we on this bird.
All the way down. No, you didn't pause. You didn't pause. No, that don't count. I won. By disqualification, you didn't go by the bar. You got to go up. Thanks.
Can I do my
He can't take coaching. He can't take coaching.
I'll start over.
He can't take coaching. No, it's this way.
There we go. There we go.
All right, don't embarrass me.
Back to football.
He's supposed to win. See, I throw the ball, he hits guys.
I just knock him down. Get out of here.
Jay, we're going to let you explain something.
And right now, the offensive line was challenged by the coach. Anthony Jones, we know, not very animated, very serious guy. But the tight end coach, Coach Fuller, got up in their faces and said, it's time for you guys to man up. Championship can be won right now. They're trying to run their best 4-minute offense. While the coach was getting them all jacked up and excited, Coach Jones was coaching, asking the officials, how many timeouts do they have? We're going to try and kill some of this clock.
Well, he's going to try to get them jacked up just like those chin-ups you were doing outside the stadium before the game when we had our challenge, big guy.
We were just looking at that, Jay, and we'll let you explain why you think you officially won that. Atkins finds Harris, who drops it at the 10-yard line. Now, Jay, we just saw the chin-ups.
Yes.
It looked as though Eddie won, but you want to make a clarification.
Under protest, you know, the chin up, they told us specifically you had to have your hands in this position and pull yourself up, hold it and pause. If you look back at the videotape, you'll clearly see Eddie's got his hands like this, doing pull-ups, not chin-ups. Doing pull-ups, not chin-ups.
That's a Howard guy. Always wants to win on the technicality. He doesn't want to go out there and win it on a football field under protest.
Well, that's why I play quarterback. You play linebacker. I know how to run the playbook. You just want to go out there and chase people all day.
On 2nd and 10, Banks right side goes nowhere. Leland Jones there defensively. Now let's put this to bed now. Let's go back and take a look at the evidence. Was Eddie doing it correctly?
You see that? You see that? Those are pull-ups. All day long, those are pull-ups. You see that? Come on. I mean, come on, Eddie.
Well, I tell you what, those Marines, those guys, I mean, they're tough. And I followed instructions. I did exactly what they said to do, but we definitely have to thank them. And they had a chin-up bar out there.
Which way, Eddie? Which way?
Well, it doesn't matter. As long as I get my chin over the bar, you know, that's all that really matters. You know, Jay wants to come on the technicality. He's a quarterback. You know, quarterback can never beat a linebacker in pull-ups or chin-ups or anything else like that.
Well, I don't know that you're going to win that one, Jay. Here we are on 3rd down and 12. Out of his end zone, Atkins throwing. What a gutsy decision to try and throw it, looking in the general direction of Thomas Harris. But he was under pressure as he let it go, and defensively, the Hornets had it covered.
How much time did they run off the clock during that series?
Nothing. I mean, that's exactly what I was about to say. They really have given Alabama State a chance to get back into this football game. First of all, you had that bad fair catch on your own 5-yard line. Then you run 3 plays with an incomplete on the 3rd down. Alabama State is poised to have great field position. If Spate can get anything going offensively, they can try and tie this ball game.
So Rashawn Seiler near the back of the end zone, punting out of the end zone to Nicholas Andrews.
Great kick.
Excellent punt.
Back kick this coverage.
Nice work by the tight end. Todd Leckfuss comes up with a big play on the 55-yard punt. Alabama State ball when we get back. ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by Citi. Whatever your story is, your Citi card can help you write it, because Citi never sleeps. Picturesque Birmingham, Alabama, central part of the state. This is definitely college football country. Look at the Alabama A&M band. The maroon and white treated us to quite a show at halftime, as did Alabama State's band. And now we have a very interesting 3:29 remaining to unfold before us in regulation. Alabama State trailing 17-10 with the ball beginning at its own 44-yard line. Anthony Spate, transfer from Alabama Birmingham in his first start as a Hornet. They keep it on the ground, and that's Traylor, who's over 100 yards rushing in the game. He has been the difference for Alabama State offensively. Rico Porch finally tracks him down, but not before a big pickup by the junior from Memphis, Germantown High School.
And just a great job of blocking by this Alabama State offensive line and Trailer. He knows what to do once he breaks through. I mean, that's a very gutsy call because there's only 3 minutes left in this game, and Alabama State sticking to that motto of we're going to run the football today, something that they haven't done all year long.
That 21-yard pickup put him at 119 yards on the day. And that's just what Coach Reggie Barlow said he wanted, to be competitive. And there he goes again, right up the middle into the secondary before he's finally knocked down by Bobby McClain. Number 6 appears to be a runaway train at the moment.
And who would have thought that Alabama State would come out with 2 dominating runs back-to-back by Trailer? I mean, Alabama A&M, this team is extremely tough. I mean, they play a very good style of defense, and I wouldn't expect them to come down here and just run it down their throat at this juncture of the football game.
They finally decided to pound the ball up the middle, not challenge the perimeter, and they've been hitting it hard.
You have a speedy defense like A&M. You go straight at them. You can't run sideline to sideline. They're too fast. You're exactly right, Jay.
And this is just what Coach Barlow of Alabama State told you, Eddie, he was going to do no matter what. Run the ball. Spate looking to throw, looking towards the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama State!
Wow. They made it look easy. All of a sudden, they just have come alive, this Alabama State offense. Where did it come from?
Nicholas Andrews, but Spate gets up slowly and gingerly makes his way off the field.
A double move at the top, and Spate stays in there and takes the hit and delivers the touchdown. I mean, you know you're going to get hit. He hasn't seen any of his throws all today. He doesn't see that touchdown. But what a tough kid. Spade is really growing up in front of his hometown crowd.
Jake King on to tie it. They fake it.
That wasn't
That's Herkenbach, the backup quarterback, running around, looking for someone in the end zone. And it does not work. Reggie Barlow had decided he wanted to go for the lead instead of the tie. Gentlemen, very interesting decision.
No way that was a fake. Nobody was going out. Nobody was going out.
He just didn't get the ball teed up. He just didn't feel like he was comfortable with the snap. And so as the quarterback, you do the next best thing. And he had a guy open. Would have been a great improvisation, but it just doesn't work out for Alabama State. They have to come back now and recover from that and play some good defense.
Boy, Jay, he can't feel too well right now. That's Reed Herkenbach, the backup.
I mean, it can't happen. It's inexplicable. I mean, you can't do that. You know, you're the holder there. You're having a tough season already because you're no longer the starting quarterback. And then you come out and you do this. You know, I just worry about the young man's career at Alabama State. You know, that was something there where, you know, I couldn't tell from the angle here, but it looked as if the snap was clean, and he just, you know, made the fire call a little premature and took off running with it. So as we see here, snap is clean. What did he do? What did he do? I don't understand. There's nobody going out. That's not a called play because there was nobody going out. So wow-wee.
The irony is, coming into this game, a 70% completion performance for Herkenbach, 4th in the SWAC with over 174 yards per game passing. Lost his starting job, as we mentioned, the Spade. Onside kick is recovered by Alabama A&M. Corey Morrison falls on it for the Bulldogs.
And Jay, I would have to question that call because this Alabama State defense has been playing extremely well. Why not just deep kick it? You have 3 timeouts. You would still have enough time to get the ball back just playing the field position. Now, even if they punt, you're in real deep trouble because you'll be backed up in your own end zone.
I agree with you 100%. You've got to make it long because all you need is a field goal. So you kick it, you make it punt, you pick up 3 first downs, you've got a game-winning field goal attempt at the end of the game if you manage the clock properly. Now, even if they're fortunate enough to get the stop, A&M's going to pin them back within their own 15-yard line, so they would have to drive the length of the field just to get in field goal range.
Well, the quarterback leading them out on the field is not Kevin Atkins. It's number 13, Gerald Stockdale. Atkins, as you know, had some problems with his right ankle a while back and maybe is not quite ready to get back out on the field in this very, very crucial stretch.
the play before the ball was snapped.
E-Rob, while we got a quick second, I want to ask you the question everybody in Montgomery wants to know. And you're a notable alum, love your alma mater. What's it going to take to get the Hornets back to championship potential?
Well, I think right now they're a team that's kind of going in two different directions. You come in here and you want to run a spread offense with the new offensive coordinator, Coach Noonan, but you're having a lot of success lining up in I formation and going downhill. So where do you go? Do you go back to the spread next week, or do you stick with your I formation? This defense has been pretty good the entire year, but offensively, you have to have some type of consistency. I don't like when I see teams going from the option one week to the spread the next week. You have to have some type of identity.
That's definitely been the case here. But so you think it's just offensively? So, because, you know, defensively, they haven't really been able to stop people. They play well in spurts. So it sounds to me as you're saying, if the offense gets their act together, this is the defense good enough to compete for a championship.
Oh, yes, sir. I think Reggie Barlow will agree. In talking with him, he said the offense just needs to put more points on the board, first of all, but also they have to have more consistency, get more first downs. And the defense, in most games, they just pretty much run out of steam because they're on the field too long.
And remember, gentlemen, in the last few games prior to this one, 13 points and just 345 yards in total offense for this offense.
Now I'm going to ask you the tough question. Who should the starting quarterback be?
Well, I think you have to stick with Spate. I mean, Spate has shown today, even though he doesn't have a mastery of the offensive system, if you have a guy like Traylor, you commit more to the running game, and you have Spate who can combine with his legs. He has to be a runner as well as a passer. I think he can move the offense a little bit more efficiently than Herkenbach.
While I do agree with you with that point, I think that there's so many offensive coordinators that have fallen in love with having a mobile quarterback. The best quarterback, first and foremost, is an accurate quarterback. And neither one of these kids have shown the accuracy. I think, you know, you've got to have the ability to complete passes. Now, if you can find a mobile quarterback that's accurate, then you've got a superstar football player. But until either one of these guys step up and prove they can be accurate, I think they're going to continue to have question marks at the quarterback position down in Montgomery. And the folks down at the Roses won't have nothing to celebrate, E-Rob.
See Anthony Spate's numbers there, 130 yards. But on the other sideline is our Soul Man. We take a look at tonight's leading man, brought to you by the movie Soul Man, Kevin Atkins. Here are some of his plays from this game.
Yeah, Kevin Atkins, he's just been a tough, gritty kid. He's been taking a lot of hits, but look at this throw right here, going downfield. You get the 1 foot in bounds, and, hey, you throw the slant route. You let your receiver beat him on the inside, and puts up another touchdown. And just pretty much very efficient. Guy just did not make a lot of mistakes today and did everything right for his football team. 14 of 26, 214 yards, the 1 touchdown. The bad thing about this, he was really into a groove until the end of that fourth quarter until he had that injury.
He has been replaced by Gerald Stockdale, number 13, who is a utility man, does a little bit of everything, can really move with his feet. Witness this play. He was whacked pretty hard by Adrian Hardy as he got close to the 40-yard line. 1:57 remaining in regulation.
Alabama State has to use the timeouts. I don't understand why they're not calling timeout, because the clock's still moving.
Reggie Barlow.
Well, now they call timeout, but that makes no sense. You let 10 seconds, almost 15 seconds run off the clock. I mean, you can't just sit here and let the clock run. If you're saving it for when you get the ball back, the game will be over. You get the ball back with 10 seconds.
You know, what concerns me is the fact that maybe you guys had a better angle from where you guys are, but I thought that Stockdale put a little bit more effort into that bootleg run and lower his shoulders instead of doing the slide. He could have, you know, picked up more yardage there on that run there. It seems to me as if he gave up a little bit early.
Look at those all-important Southwestern Athletic Conference, the SWAC standings. Alabama A&M at 2-1. Alabama State down at 1-2. A loss clearly for Alabama State knocks them out of any hope of the championship. Probably doesn't mathematically eliminate A&M, though.
Well, Alabama A&M, I mean, in Jackson State, those are the 2 teams in the East who have won the last 2 SWAC conference champions. So they know how to get to the big SWAC championship game. And this game is huge for both teams. Right now, they don't care about the SWAC. They just care about winning the Magic City Classic and all of the bragging rights that goes with that game.
Kevin Atkins, you see him holding his jaw. He's been replaced, as we noted, by number 13 on 3rd and 8. Nursing a 7-point lead. Alabama A&M has the ball here in Birmingham with 1:44 remaining in regulation. First down might do it. They do not get it. Excellent defensive work by Nicholas Grant. So A&M will now be forced to punt the ball away.
Now, do you think that Coach Barlow is really going to regret going for that onside kick now? If A&M is successful in pinning Alabama State deep in their corner, they've got to go a long way just to get in field goal territory.
Well, the onside kick is just such a low percentage play. It's pretty much a desperation move. But with this defense, and they started to play well again once they got a little rest, you still had those timeouts. And quite frankly, had they got a first down, the game would have been over. It didn't matter if it was on your own 20 or on the plus side of the field. A first down ended the game. So you know you had to pitch a shutout by defense, but why not, from a field position standpoint, give your team a better chance to react if you were able to stop them?
Well, Alabama A&M will take that delay of game penalty to eat up clock. So with 53 seconds remaining now, Alabama A&M will punt it away. Rashawn Seiler, who's averaging 41.4 yards per punt, will kick to Nicholas Andrews. They put pressure on it. Seiler went down. There was no flag. Andrews is... The ball rolls into the end zone, but just by a hair. I wonder why Andrews was even near the ball.
Well, I thought he was going to try to pick it up and return it at one point because it was a line drive. If he could have caught it clean, he'd had a big chance for a return, but very fortunate. If this ball dies on the 1 yard line, the game would be over. Great effort by Alabama A&M, but it does give State just a chance to try to make something happen. They have to go quite some ways in a very short period of time and try to get this thing in the field goal range if possible.
Jay, they have 80 yards to go, no timeouts. And the ball in the hands of a man who's starting for the first time in his career at Alabama State.
This is the stuff that legends could be made of. If you're Anthony Spade, you got to get excited. Speaking of legends, you see that is right there? A&M Bulldog fans know 4-year starter Kelsey Luke, one of the Luke boys, had a tremendous career at Alabama State.
And Spade just threw an interception. Alfred Williams comes up with it, and that should seal it. 4 interceptions on the day will probably be the biggest number that Anthony Spade takes away from his debut as Alabama State starting quarterback.
Yeah, and that Bulldog defense, 4 turnovers. They came into the game with only 6 interceptions. They bump it up to 4 more today, 10 on the year, but would have been a tough task for Spate. Just sitting back in the pocket, trying to run a curl route. No one's home. Except for Alfred Williams, the big linebacker, his 2nd interception on the year to ice the game for Alabama A&M, and the dominance continues for Coach Jones and his Bulldogs.
So Stockdale takes a knee. Alabama State will drop to 1-3 in the conference, 1-6 overall. A&M improves to 3-1 and 4-5 overall. Bulldogs have now won 4 straight in this Magic City Classic. Next up for Alabama State at Alcorn State, Alabama A&M will take a week off before being home to Prairie View A&M. So Reggie Barlow and Anthony Jones will meet at midfield, shake hands. Another Magic City Classic in the books. Goes to Alabama A&M by 1, 17-16. And folks, I got to tell you, both of my partners told me this would be a close game. I didn't think it would be, but Eddie and Jay both said it would be a very close game. Eddie, some key plays in this game, and there were a number.
Well, but you have to start with this play by backup quarterback Reed Herkenbach. He was the former starter, and just seemed like he missed the snap, and then you come back with an onside kick, and you had a chance. Had you kicked it deep, you would have had much better field position and had not been on that 20-yard line.
Jay, you had the coach with you.
Coach Jones, what can you take away from this victory?
The victory. Be thankful about that. I thank God for it. You know, I think both institutions ought to be proud of their football teams, the way they performed, the way they fought. This is, I mean, it's magical, man. This is a true Magic City Classic. I'm glad to be a part of it. I thank God that we were able to come out on top.
The play at the end, extra point, they lost that one. Do you feel that your team had enough momentum or enough wit had this game gone in overtime? What your chances would have been?
I'm not concerned with that. The Lord bless us with this, and we're going to take it. We're going to rebuild. We're going to be very, very grateful with this, and we're going to rebuild and take the next step, take a week off that we so desperately need. And we're still in this race, and we're going to try to get ready for a great Prairie View football team.
All righty, Coach Jones, best of luck to you and the team on the rest of the season. Hey, the Bulldogs escaped with the victory. The W is all that counts.
Jay, thank you. Thanks, Coach Jones. Eddie Robinson, quickly your impressions.
Well, I just think it was a tough Fort Magic City Classic. This thing goes this way every year, and Alabama A&M has continued the dominance over Alabama State. Great football game.
Once again, our final score, Alabama A&M 17, Alabama State 16 in the Magic City Classic. For Eddie Robinson Jr., Jay Walker, and our entire ESPNU crew, I'm Dwayne Ballin. Next week, our ESPNU game airs at 10:30 Eastern for a MEAC battle between South Carolina State and Delaware State. Coming up next, it's Sports Center U. For more information, log on to your home for the finest in college sports, ESPNU.com. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.